Hello and welcome to Team Field of View's E3 2017 impressions, reactions, recaps, and other thoughts. My name is Matt.
I'm Pearson.
And I'm Alex.
And tonight we're going to be talking about what we saw. We actually didn't get to go ourselves, but luckily with the technology of the internet, we got to see quite a bit from the press conferences and other people's impressions and stuff. Developer interviews. I actually think it's better to not go to the actual show.
It's easier
because you get to hear so many people's impressions as it's happening and see these developers talk through their demos and stuff that I feel like I can get to more and not wait in line than people who are there. But
yeah, I mean, it's just the experience of going to, because I mean, you got to play most of these games there on the show floor.
So I guess that's a good place to start, is just talk about the conference in general. You've been there before.
Yes.
What year was that? 2012?
No, it was 2015 or 14.
Wow. That
Whenever
was
Borderlands 2 came out.
I'm pretty sure that was 2013 or 14.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said 14, so let's calm down.
No, it might have been 2012.
Oh, dang.
Because
really right.
it came out on Xbox 360 and PS3.
Nah, it is
and those are last gen consoles.
Huh.
Somebody go to look it up?
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah. I can hear him typing.
What is it?
2012.
Hey, look at that. All right.
Dang, 5 years ago.
All right. So, anyways, yeah, you went to E3, and apparently it felt very recent, even though it was 5 years ago.
I guess so.
But this E3 was a different E3 than the one you went to. This one was open to the public, which is the first time ever, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they...
Because even back when it was in Atlanta, you still had to be press. It was easier to get in because you could just.
Well, at one point it was industry, then it was press, and then they went back, and then they went.
Yeah. They
changed it up a few times.
So I mean, they're changing it because the show is, for lack of a better term, dying. We've got EA kind of doing their own thing now with the EA Play conference down the road. The overall booths are shrinking for the most part. You look at Microsoft's booth, and it used to be as big as Sony's, and now it's about half the size. And a lot of smaller people just not doing stuff that when they used to have a big presence there. So they kind of said, huh, what can we do to make this a big show and make a lot of money? And yeah, open it up to the public. Tickets were what, $250, something like that is what I heard.
Jeez.
Yeah, for the 3 days. And
it's funny because the press passes, you can get them free, if you got early enough. That's funny.
Right.
Yeah.
So they sold thousands of these tickets. Thousands. I think they said they added it was 15 or 20 or 25,000 more people on top of all the people that would normally come to one of these shows. Right. So the problem is they didn't add more booths, so it was just way more crowded for everybody. So especially day one is when you really saw it, that there were tweets and posts everywhere of just lines, and even to get in, people waited hours just to get into the show, and it was just utter chaos, and you couldn't move. Yeah, it was a mess. And the way they designed the show, which makes sense because the people who can afford the best spot on the show floor are going to be the big publishers, right, the big draws.
Yeah. Because
they can afford that prime real estate. But if you put the prime real estate games like Nintendo and I think it was Nintendo and Sony right inside the front door, guess what happens? People rush inside the front door and they don't go anywhere else, and it just clogs it. It was not well designed. I hope that they fix it for their own sake.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they will, but that's just... I don't know what they're thinking. That's just stupid.
From all the impressions I've been hearing is people saying that it needs a public day or two and press days. Do 4 days instead of 3, and do 2 for press and 2 for public, or 3 for press, or at least 1 day for press by themselves to get their their interviews done because people are like running around trying to make appointments and they can't even fight through the crowds of people. So it's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
little
they can have like
concerning.
one free day, like just an expo.
The problem is if you add more days, then the publishers are paying for that. You know, the rental of the
Well,
space. And the
sure,
people
but I
who
mean, they
staff
can make
it.
a free public day, and then the rest of it just press. Because even like when it was press or industry or whatever, it was still a lot of people there.
Right, it's still crowded. You're going to wait in line for stuff, but this is like you're waiting like
Yeah,
2 to 4 hours for a game that comes out in a month or two. It's like it's not like those crazy like, oh, I'm gonna wait for Mario. It's like if you didn't get in line at 6 in the morning, you were not playing Mario that day for most people, unless you had an appointment.
Which you had to set up ahead of time.
Yes. So who knows? Maybe I'll go one day, but after reading those impressions, I was not like, I need to go to E3 right now. So
no, I mean
kinda
overall,
glad.
I'm booking my flight right now.
I mean if you're
I
not
didn't
like an
pay a
actual
dime,
press,
so.
I think it's just probably a waste of time.
I wouldn't say a waste of time. I think it's like the experience.
I don't
is
know.
like-
It sounds like it's a pain in the butt now.
Yeah, but like just to say that you went, I would like to go just to say I went.
Yeah,
You know,
walk
that's
around, play all the stuff that's
You-
in the background, lay out some
You've
carpets.
been you can't talk. You're like whatever.
Yeah, I've been. It's cool. It was cool before, you know. It's not cool now.
It's lost its magic.
Yeah, that's right. It's too crowded. A bunch of normies just everywhere.
Too loud. Just yeah.
This is Alex
All right, so-
embracing his inner hipster.
I mean, how are you gonna get all the free swag if someone takes it already? You know?
That's
It's
true.
too
I do
crowded.
want the stuff. It's not free if you pay $250 for the ticket, though.
Yeah. Well, then you're it's not guaranteed. I don't think either. So.
Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run through the press conferences for the most part, kind of in order, kind of not. We might miss some order. We might skip some things. We're not gonna talk about absolutely every game that was shown off. 'Cause
Hey,
would
we
be
could
here
skip
forever.
EA. No.
So, and we're gonna intersplice conversations into that with some things that happened after those shows regarding some of the games, because that's the beauty of E3 is they kind of give their prepared statement on stage, but then more comes out on the internet in the coming days and in interviews. So we're gonna kind of discuss some of that. That's also a good reason to not talk about your impressions the day of or the day after. I'm kind of glad we waited a week to do this because then we really get that extra information, you know, so
Yeah,
we
it's
can have a more and we let it sink. We kind of marinated it in our minds,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. We are not just like, quick. We think about it, process it, like really dive deep into it.
Yeah. So let's dive deep into EA first. So EA is always a conference to me that's like too much sports, terrible pacing, and for the last few years has been really disappointing. I don't think they've had a good show for several years. It really kind of started with the Mass Effect teasing in the last couple of years where it was just like concept art and a guy sitting at a desk drawing. It's like that's not
I
how
thought
you talk
this
about a
one
game.
was better than last year, as far as
I would say it
remember.
was better. There were still some problems.
Yeah,
to
I
me.
mean, it's definitely not perfect, but it's definitely more engaging in parts. Like A Way Out, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Or
yeah.
like
So
that.
they
some
they
of the
start
games were definitely
start the conference with a bunch of people walking out with Tom Brady jerseys on and a drum line.
yeah. I mean, it was like Sony-esque. Got some music going.
Yeah, they were obviously like, hey, that was popular. Let's have some.
This is a little
some music."
cheaper. Let's just
Yeah.
get someone.
Just a
Not
little
as
cheaper.
nice, not as memorable or classy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I'm glad they didn't do the whole like, hey, we're in America. Oh, now we're in England kind of press conference because that definitely tore up the pacing in the past.
Yeah.
They kind of spread out the sports, which I kind of appreciated. In the past, it's kind of been sports, like right in the middle for like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But this time they started with, I think it was started with Madden, right?
Yeah.
And then went to Battlefield, and then came back to FIFA.
Yes.
So I thought that was
They
good.
definitely did break it up.
Yeah.
That was good.
There was still a little too much of.
I mean, it's a big
it.
seller for them, so.
Yeah. The problem with it being a big seller to me is it's not a big seller because it's during this E3 show.
But
you don't need
there's
to
a reason.
build the
They
hype.
can't just, like... They do this for a reason. I'm
I
sure
know,
there's
but-
some kind of journal or website that is FIFA 24/7, and that's
Right.
is what they're watching.
Right, but they don't need to go into the whole, like, they always go into the esports thing of, like, oh, you know, Madden, you're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to be this guy who, you're going to pick up a controller, and then, oh, now you're winning tournaments, and it's like, they've done that for the last few years, and I just think it kind of, like, show me the trailer for the game, move on.
Show me how it is different from last year. And go.
Specifically, what I want to equate this to, we're going to jump ahead and then come back. Ubisoft talking about Just Dance, and they've really treated it well the last couple of years because they're gonna show it because, like you said, it's huge, it sells, so
Right.
they're gonna mention it.
Right.
But right in the middle of their conference this year, it was like, lady comes out, sings for like a minute, and then she says like, Just Dance, blah blah blah, comes out, blah blah blah, done. It was like a minute and a half. Moving on, yeah, next game.
Oh, I'm sure FIFA sells more than Just Dance.
Pearson, can you live fact check that?
Sure,
for me?
absolutely.
I mean, they still made PS2 games for FIFA, so it's like...
Yeah, but Just Dance
I mean,
on the Wii sold like
I mean, they're marketers. I mean,
tens
they know
of
their
millions.
company. It's not like they just put on FIFA and Madden and NBA just for like, well, this is probably a waste of money.
yeah. So the
There has to
big
be
thing
some
is
reason they do it.
last year FIFA they added a story mode with what was it, Alex Hunter?
Oh, that was so. I was watching it, and then the news. It's like a bunch of different news outlets talking about.
Yeah.
It. It's like, wait, is this a real? No, it's video
Nope.
game. It's not a real person.
I enjoyed that little bit that they did. I
Yeah.
thought it went on a little too long, but I really appreciated the getting these actual sportscasters to talk about this fake video game character. I
No,
thought
I'm
it was
sure.
fun. And then I want to talk about NBA Live because it's coming back. That's a big thing. It's been gone for a while. So this isn't just like year of Madden and FIFA where it's like, okay, we're gonna see Madden and FIFA. It's like, oh, NBA Live. That's kind of new. It hasn't been there for a few years. So not the best
2016.
demo. Not the best demo. They were like outside for some reason.
Yeah, it's like some play area they had set up.
Yeah, and they just like did a replay in slow motion, but they were like playing the replay, and that was your first chance to look at this game.
Yeah, I don't
think
know
that's
if
a
it
poor
means
way.
anything to somebody.
Because I think right after that they showed a trailer that was actually a good trailer, and they showed off that there's like a street mode and a court mode, which I thought was kind of cool. And it's like you should have started with that and then gone to that because what? You got something for yourself? What?
Just Dance has sold 340 million copies.
Dang. Wait, total?
Yes,
Yeah,
worldwide.
for the whole series.
Madden probably sold that many in the 20 years it's been up.
Oh, that is the. This,
You'd be
this
surprised.
is Just Dance from 2016. That's what I was looking at.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
one game. All right, fair enough.
Wait, no, there's no way that one game sold 340 million copies.
No,
there
he
wasn't
said it.
340
It's
million
facts.
systems.
He said it. It's
You're
facts.
saying the whole series as of 2016.
No, I'm saying Just Dance 2016 worldwide has sold I'm stupid. I can't read things. I'm dumb.
I was gonna say
340,000 copies.
No. He said 300 million. It's fact.
I was
anyways, moving
busy
on.
thinking about FIFA 17, which has sold 9 million copies in half the time.
Boom. FIFA's a popular game.
Right, but I'm saying Just Dance on the Wii in its heyday was, I think one of them sold like 5 or 6 million copies
But
just on the Wii. So
no one played that game after 3 times. It's a dead
all right,
game.
so they talked about Battlefield 1 a little bit, which is good. New expansion coming out, so they're like, hey, might as well show off the Russian expansion.
Yeah, it looked pretty.
Yeah, I like the trailer. It was good. The talking around the trailer, there was the guy that was like in the audience talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
I mean,
there was
EA.
they were showing off all the like streamers.
Yeah, that's.
They had a clip
Is that Battlefield?
of
Oh, the montage.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a montage
yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, really
and-
involving the community.
Yeah, and then they like had the community there playing games behind them, like in a little circle. So I don't know. I kind of wanted something more for Battlefield for that.
I mean, it's
But-
an expansion pack.
Yeah. So what else do we have? We had A Way Out, which was a little bit of a surprise. I kind of had a speculation that
That developer.
the developer
Yeah.
right would be there. They hadn't announced their game. They said they were working on a game. It's the developer of Brother: A Tale of Two Sons, which is a very well regarded indie game. What, Pearson?
I might own that game. I just never played it.
I have that game and I haven't played it.
Well, now you gotta play it
So-
because this is the sequel.
Yeah, well, no, it's not. So
Yeah, there's two
unlo-
guys. And
It could be in the same universe for all we know. Who knows?
My buddy's dead. Okay. I don't have it.
So that game surprised me. I think it looks really good. Set in a prison, and it's a co-op game from start to finish.
Yeah, no, I
Preferably
think that's
couch
really
co-op.
awesome.
Yeah, the developer was like specific about that. He's like, online co-op is stupid. Like,
put it in
play
there
with someone
in
on your
case you
couch.
need
Yeah,
to
you
do
can
it.
play online.
But do it on your
At first, like in interviews, he was kind of saying like, "No, we're not doing online." But I think it's more like, "No, we're not. We're not
We're not
like
pushing
encouraging
online."
Yeah. But at first, it was like, "Is this game only gonna have local co-op?" Which would be really strange in this day and age.
Right.
But I'm really excited to play through that game with somebody. It's gonna be kind of sad when all your friends kind of pair off and everybody else has played it, and then you got to find someone who hasn't played it. Because it seems like one of those games that's going to be so much better for the first time.
Yep.
Like, there's the story elements and everything, and, figuring out the puzzles.
No, I'm sure. It's a pretty cool mechanic. Old
Yeah.
split screen, and you could do things different ways. And
My favorite part is that you can have one of your characters in a cutscene while the other is in
Yeah.
gameplay. And it's all on the same screen. I love that. And the center bar that divides the screen kind of moves over depending on which scene is, needs more focus. Really cool mechanic. I think it looks beautiful. Sounds good. Was a well done trailer, I think. So,
very passionate guy, too.
yeah, good presentation for that. That's like EA should just take that and do that for all of their games. Like, have someone come out who loves what they do and is not reading off a teleprompter, obviously. The guy came out and he messed up his own name, I think. He mispronounced his last name.
Right.
Yeah. So, but
He's
you could just
excited.
tell he was excited to talk about this game. And I love that. So, more of that. Less of the Need for Speed guy. Which is what we're going to talk about next. So,
Do we have
Need for
to?
Speed.
He tried.
I don't remember the guy's name. There was a YouTuber.
Some guy.
And completely choked. Poor guy. Just mid sentence.
He got lots of views on
Yeah.
Twitch
Oh, no,
for
he
it.
did.
So apparently, what happened is he was standing over there waiting to go, and they're like, "You're gonna be on in like 3 or 4 minutes," and then like 10 seconds later, they cut to him, and they're like, "You're live," and so he wasn't ready, and then apparently, what was on the teleprompter was different than what he had practiced on the teleprompter in a run through.
Right.
So, to be fair, yeah, that's a high stress situation, but oh man, you couldn't have choked worse. So.
I feel like some of those
that's
stage things
painful.
are kind of like stupid things. Like, yeah, 3-4 minutes, 10 seconds. That's stupid. But then, like, microphones not cutting in and
Yeah.
cutting out. It's like, it's just like, just silly little things that can kind of
And I think
mess up the show.
that leads to an interesting conversation with what like these stage shows are evolving. They are different than they were 5 years ago. They're way different than they were 10 years ago. And especially if you like compare, EA is very different to Sony, very different to Bethesda and Nintendo, and Ubisoft. They all kind of have their own flair. They all do their own thing. But you look at like Sony this year, didn't have a single live game on their entire showcase.
No, what's the point?
Last year they opened the show with God of War, and they had a little picture in the top right of the screen with a guy holding the controller showing, hey, we're actually playing this.
Nothing can go wrong if it's just a trailer.
Right. And I think that's why they do it.
Less can go wrong.
Do you appreciate the stage show? Because like Sony and Bethesda, very little utilize their stage.
I enjoyed the Sony more. Like EA.
Well, was that the games?
Yeah, but also the view, just like how they use the stage. Because Sony still had people on the stage. Like some people talked, but they also incorporated like, I don't know, like Cirque du Soleil.
People is not the number of. It's not the right thing. Person taught. Yeah. It was only Sean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's a little bit lost in that. Like, if I had to choose between Nintendo doing a direct and Nintendo doing a stage show, I'd want the stage show. I like it when developers come out on stage and really, share about their game. As long as they want to. You get some people and it's like, oh, when's this guy gonna shut up? But occasionally it's like some of the best moments. Like the best moment of EA's press conference to me was A Way Out. Yes. And this guy coming out and really selling it, and more than the trailer would have done.
Right.
So I think there is something lost when you just go to trailers, no matter how manicured and perfect it is. And I really appreciate the pacing of trailers. It's more about limiting. It's like, don't have them talk if they don't have anything to say,
or if they don't need to.
Yeah, like, but I think you just fall into that trap. I mean, are you gonna get like that guy was one out of, I don't know, most of these. Like none of them. I don't remember anyone else being like that kind of guy. So I mean, you can either always have someone talk, or no one, like Sony. Like EA had somebody come out every game and talked about it.
Right, but Sony wasn't talking about the games. He was just talking about...
Yeah, no, I mean, like, either you could have, like EA does, where they have someone talk about the game, or Sony, where they don't talk about the games.
There's that whole middle part where it's, if the game needs to be talked about, have someone talk about it.
A Way Out needed to be talked about.
Right, sure, but, I mean, it feels like they don't do that. I mean, some of the smaller games don't have anybody, but...
That's why, personally, I think this E3, I'm getting a little ahead, but I would say that Ubisoft was the strongest conference to me, just because it was a good mix of
Nintendo.
Lots of new announcements and people talking. And there was only like one or two times where I was like, all right, that's enough. But for the most part, what was said was good, and I appreciated that. It was definitely, like, if you compare EA to Ubisoft's conference, just... not even close, I think, in terms of what was announced and how it was presented. I can only think of like two downsides to Ubisoft, and we'll get there in a minute. Let's move through EA real quick here.
EA.
Yeah. So Need for Speed. Anybody excited?
I don't remember.
No?
The guy messed up, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks." And then they announced another game.
The demo was really weird because like the car was pretty much invincible. You're like ramming stuff off the road and whatever. Or maybe I'm not even thinking of the E3 stage demo, but when I saw some after floor demo, it was like, we'll see. It's not Burnout.
It's not.
And that's all
I just want Burnout. That's all I want is Burnout.
We want Burnout Paradise in a higher resolution.
Give me Burnout 1, 2, and 3 remastered. And yeah, Burnout Paradise remastered and Burnout Paradise 2. Give it to me. That's what I want. Stop making Need for Speed. Ugh, it makes me mad. Anyway, or at least give me a spiritual successor.
All right.
To Burnout, like
Burnout's better
it doesn't have to be called Burnout. You could call it Need for Speed, but make it like Burnout Paradise. All right. Anyway, Anthem.
As long as you get the right vibes, it'll be fine.
So they come out and they say, "Hey, this is BioWare's new game. We're like, oh, we were expecting BioWare's new game because they kind of like had been hinting at it that it was going to be shown off. And of course, Pearson was expecting Dragon Age, and I was like, I heard it was sci-fi and heard it was like Destiny. So, and sure enough, Anthem.
I was, to be honest, I knew this was coming. I also want this to be.
I mean,
it's still rumored. Even after all of E3, it's still rumored Dragon Age is in development and coming.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah. And soon is what I'm hearing.
I'm excited.
Like, release next year is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, it'll be like, announce, release, which is always fun.
So you're saying it's a dead franchise?
Huh?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Okay, so Anthem. It's pretty sweet.
Anthem was a really quick trailer. Because they're like, tune in tomorrow at Microsoft to actually see this game. I'm like, what? You don't do that. Like, okay, you do that when you have a ton of games to talk about. EA, you had Need for Speed, which they announced like a week prior to their show for some reason. I hate when they do that. You had A Way Out, which was for the most part an independent game. You know, it's not a AAA game. And you had Anthem.
I guess Microsoft paid more for that.
If you got Anthem and A Way Out, make Anthem big because that's all you got. That's your big announcement. So it was so strange to me and totally anticlimactic for them to just say, "Oh, here's a quick sneak peek and come back to Microsoft tomorrow." We'll talk about Anthem more with the Microsoft section. So the last thing to talk about is Star Wars, and man, was I disappointed. Yeah, because at the beginning when they say, like, we've got half an hour of Star Wars, it's like, all right, who knows what they're going to talk about.
Oh, this is coming back now.
Yeah. So, here's what we had.
What did you hate about it?
Okay,
they didn't tell us they were done with everything else.
They had a whole trailer about, we've got a campaign. And it was like tweets flying up on the screen. John Boyega's like, man, where's the campaign, EA? And then they're like, we made a campaign. And then they got the girl from the campaign who's actually starring, voice acting in, motion capture, comes out and says, we've got a campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Where was the campaign? They didn't show the campaign.
Watch this 30-minute multiplayer match.
Oh, my God.
Even the trailer is multiplayer.
It was just so ridiculous because they're like patting themselves on the back, like, look, we listened.
We did it.
See, we're not the most evil gaming company in America, or the most evil company in America is what people voted them as.
Stills of the single player campaign.
They had one brief little snippet that was like, what was it, Emperor Palpatine, who's like supposed to be dead, but then he's like in a robot with his. It's like, oh, what are they doing? But it's like, show at least half a mission, show gameplay. This game comes out at the end of the year. This is your shot to show this game.
They can't do that.
Oh, but they can show an entire multiplayer round.
Well,
which,
yeah.
To be fair, it's like, I don't mind them showing an entire multiplayer round because that's not, because like what I really appreciate about Battlefield's trailers is they cut them so well and they just show the action. They set them to music and it syncs up and it looks good. And sometimes you just want to know what it feels like, not the highlights. You want to know what the game feels like. So this was just like half an hour. I think it was like 20 minutes, 18 minutes of a whole round.
No, it was half an hour. It was crazy.
It was not edited very well in terms of like who was calling the shots. They'd like cut away from action right as it was about to happen and show bad things. It's like, if you're gonna do that, get people that have esports experience to call shots. Have it be produced. The shoutcasters that were commentating, there were some times where they didn't even like know some of the things. They're like asking questions to the other shoutcasters, and it's like, oh gosh. Like, to me,
this is why Sony doesn't do it live anymore.
Okay, but I'm not saying that doing the 18-minute gameplay was wrong.
No, that's fine, but they're obviously ill prepared. Do
it better if you're going to do it, is what I'm saying. Yeah, especially that's your end of the show. That was the last thing they showed off. And I mean, there was, I think right after it, one of the guys on the panel that was, narrating the game said, like, I forget what he said. It was like, well, that was pretty good. And then he like corrected himself. He's like, I mean, that was awesome. And I'm like, what? Like that was one of his exact words, but it was totally like he said something that it was like it was all right, and like I think that was just kind of like him saying what he was thinking, and then someone was in his ear like, hey, you should probably say something.
Probably be more excited about the amount that I'm paying you to be excited about this.
The big disappointment to me with EA, and I think it set the whole conference on a sour note at the end, kind of when you realize, wait, where was so-and-so, was that last E3, they had a whole montage of future Star Wars games because they paid a bunch of money for this license, and you had Amy Hennig's new game made by Visceral, which is the Dead Space dev, I believe, and they showed like a little guy like walking out of a doorway, and not even mentioned. Then you've got like a lightsaber fighting game or something, not even mentioned. And they talked about this last E3, and now just silence. And so like Amy Hennig had to actually tweet out because people were like, "Hey, where's your game? Is it canceled or something?" And she had to say like, "Oh, we're just not gonna be at E3. Sorry, like it's still coming. Don't worry." But it's like we shouldn't have to worry about a game that is. Yeah. That's probably of all the EA things that are being made right now that I know are being made, that's my most anticipated. You need to even mention it. That is not a good E3 presence. Just do a quick cinematic trailer. Just have someone talk about it. Have Amy Hennig come out and say, like, here's what we're doing that's going to change the way you think about Star Wars video games. Bam. Like, I'm sold. Yeah. But nothing, not even a mention. Like, seriously, is like, oh, is this game canceled? Because you're not giving it attention. That's not good.
Nope.
It's supposed to come out next year, allegedly. We'll see. And it really, it's like, holy cow, you've had this Star Wars license since 2013, and it's 2017, and all we have to show for it is 2 Battlefront games, one of which didn't even have a single-player campaign? Like, get on it. I was excited when it's like, oh, a big publisher has the license to Star Wars, who's going to put out a bunch of games. Nope. Put out some games. At least talk about the games. Like, oh, that was disappointing. All right, any other final thoughts for EA?
Do better.
So you were not impressed, is what you're saying?
It was all right, but no, it was a waste of time. But I mean, that's what we're expecting.
Technically, I'm stoked for 2 reasons. 1, pretty sure Dragon Age. 2, I'm kind of excited to find out how they're going to mess up showing Dragon Age.
They're going to give you a teaser and then say, tune into Microsoft.
What if it's just like, oh, Dragon Age 2 remastered?
I would probably strangle someone.
It'd be Dragon Age 3. We forgot the second one.
Now, if it was Dragon Age 2 remake, that would be different.
If they just called it Dragon Age 2, and it's like, just forgetting that game ever happened, it just made a whole new game that takes place in the time that Dragon Age 2 took place. You be in for that?
What if they made a side-scroller that was called Dragon Age?
What?
They just made a side-scroller, like a completely different game.
What if it was called Age of Dragons?
Exactly. What if it was a science-based dragon game?
A what?
Oh, it's old Reddit.
A science-based puzzle platformer
MMO.
with roguelite RPG elements.
Oh, no way.
I mean, I'd probably still play it.
Procedural based.
with open world survival crafting. Yes.
I'm worried that's too many keywords.
I think we need to copyright that. That's copyrighted.
Metroidvania. Just throw it in. All right. So, Pearson, any final thoughts on EA?
Maybe next year. Maybe next year you'll do better.
More like EA, not a surprise.
Better things.
So Microsoft, the next day.
The next day.
Day 2. Yes. So what I want to talk about first about Microsoft is really the reason to watch Microsoft this E3. Like, everybody was watching for Scorpio. Like, to me, that was like, you've got to come out and prove that I need this console. So they come out and they're like, just here's the specs. And they go on for like 5 minutes about the specs and the vapor chambers and the teraflops and the RAM and all this. And then Then we've got the name, which is
The Xbox One X.
Yeah.
And we all shouted, "No! What are you doing?"
So the fun thing
Did
about
you
Xbox
not learn
One X
from the Wii U?
as a name, well, no, because this isn't a new system. The Wii U was a new system. This is an iteration. So to me, it's okay. It's called an Xbox One something.
Sure.
X to me isn't the best because it's like basically 10, so it's like Xbox One 10, or you've got Xbox One X, so XBOX. Xbox is how it abbreviates. Don't know if that was intentional. Yeah, you
That's
noticed
awesome.
that?
Well, I didn't like put it.
Yeah. So, then they showed off some games. And before we talk about the games, I just want to know,
I don't care
Pearson.
about the car. I don't.
No. Pearson,
Yeah.
did they prove that you should buy this box?
Yeah.
Okay. Alex, did they prove that you should buy this box?
But I wouldn't buy it.
Okay. I wouldn't buy it. So,
But they had some sweet games.
To be fair,
to be
Matt,
fair,
both of us
What?
have decent or better computers. And, like, everything they want, they're going to like, yeah, we'll put it on PC too. So we're like, why would we not just play it on PC?
yeah, but this is not made for us. But I think
Right,
even
that's what I'm
as-
saying. Like,
But even as a standard, like, if I'm buying a console for the first time and my options are PlayStation 4 for $249, Xbox One for $249, which I think was discounted to $199 if I'm not mistaken during
for
E3.
like a week, yeah.
Yeah. PlayStation 4 Pro for $399, Xbox One X for $499. I like.
Yeah, it's not gonna be priced for the kid or whatever, or the person buying a console for the first time. It's gonna be where his friends are at.
I don't even think it's priced incorrectly. I think that it would have been nice if it was less. If it was $450 or $399,
Yeah,
they
if
would have really
everything's
stuck
cheap.
it to Sony. Which I think at this point they kind of need to stick it to Sony because they're kind of losing.
Right.
But I understand it's like that. You look at the technology that's in there. That is a powerful console. Like you say, my computer is
Parts of
good,
it are
but actually,
powerful.
I think that the Xbox One X has more teraflops than my graphics card does.
Teraflops, those are just numbers.
I have a better CPU, obviously, but there
By
are
quite a
some.
bit.
Yeah, but I mean that's the real bottleneck of the system. But I don't know. I don't think that they did a good job of selling this system. It's like you're gonna have a system that's $500. Okay, prove that it's worth it.
Right.
And I mean, to be fair, Sony during their PlayStation 4 Pro conference last year did not
Also
do a
didn't
good
prove
job
it.
of selling that system. Right. But so we're going to maybe come back to these. But we talk about Forza, we talk about Assassin's Creed, we talk about these games, and then it's like Minecraft 4K. And it's like, really? This is your game? It was like one of the first games they showed off for the Xbox One X. It's like, this is how you're going to say, look, we have the world's most powerful console, and here's Minecraft with shaders and 4K, and it's...
But
I don't know.
At the same time, they're like, yeah, you're going to be able to game in 4K. I would show you what 4K looks like, but you're sitting at home on a 1080 monitor or on your 1080 TV, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway.
I mean, that's a problem that just, in general, 4K is hard to show an example. Same with
Right.
HDR. Like, a lot of people say HDR is a more important thing than 4K
Right.
in
You
terms
have
of
to
how
see
it
it in
looks.
person.
Right. So it's impossible for them to explain that. But show me a lot of stuff on screen. Show me power. Show me just extra effects. Like, that's the one thing that was good about
I
what
want to
Sony
see
did.
the
with
maximum
PlayStation 4
number
Pro.
of exploding projectiles you can
is
show me.
They showed Horizon Zero Dawn, and then they're like, okay, here's the version on the PS4 Pro, and it's like, look at how this rock wall has extra vines and better textures and less aliasing. It's like, okay, side by side, that's a good way to show
Draw
it.
distances.
Yeah, stuff like that. But Forza isn't a good way to show it, because to me, on a 1080p screen, Drive Club looks as good, if not better, in some instances than that Forza demo they showed off, especially the water effects. Like, the water was just kind of like not reacting to the windshield wipers very well, and in Drive Club you actually have like 3D water that is being pushed around and pooling up on your windshield, and like you go around a corner and the water kind of goes off to a side. That's impressive. That shows like, wow, this console can handle that. I wasn't seeing anything that said, yes, this is why. And to be fair, they do have all their games coming out on Windows, and I appreciate that. I think it's great for like gaming preservation in the future, and obviously I don't have an Xbox One, so I'm going to buy them on PC. But it hurts them that it's like, oh yeah, these games you can all play on PC, so you don't need an Xbox One.
Hey, Matt,
but
you have a 1080, right?
What?
You have a GTX 1080?
No, I have a 980.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
the 1080 is more powerful, but 980 I don't think is. I think mine's like 5 point something, and it's 5.5 on the Xbox One.
It's 6.
It's 6, so yeah, it's definitely more powerful than mine.
Yeah, but it's such a dumb thing to throw out. Like, oh, this thing does teraflops. Like, no one, not most of the people will look at that like, oh yeah, teraflops. Yeah, that's pretty good. And it's like, oh, look at higher number.
I still think that it's a very powerful system.
I have 2.7 teraflops.
I mean, it's just as good as a 480.
I mean, the Xbox One X is 6, and the PS4 Pro is 4 point something. So it's like, yeah, that's significantly more powerful. So I get why it costs $100 more. I'm not complaining about that. I just think they didn't do a good job of showing why I should buy it for $500.
People, yeah, but they're not going to prove you. They're not going to show you to buy a new one. The only people who are going to buy a new one are, I'm going to say this is probably going to be not a really good selling console.
No, the PlayStation 4 Pro, Sony has said at some point that on average it's about 1 out of 5 new PlayStations bought is a Pro versus a core unit, which 20% I think is a pretty decent
1 out of
for
10
a premium model.
I'll go buy an X.
Okay, that might be a fair, especially when you have such a big difference in price. When the Xbox One X or One S drops in price, and then this thing's $500, it's like, okay, twice as much to get 4K. That's a lot versus the smaller difference on the PlayStation. I think is what hurts it.
I mean, 4K is still really small in the market.
Yeah, and to talk to your point earlier, Pearson, you're saying like showing people 4K.
Yeah.
To be fair, they were broadcasting in 4K that conference.
So if you actually did already have 4K,
if you have a 4K TV,
Does
which
Xbox
most of the people
One support 4K?
It supports 4K movie.
Yeah,
Xbox One
Blu-rays.
S supports Blu-ray and
That was
media
just-
stuff in 4K.
It'd be funny if you couldn't even watch the 4K stream on your Xbox One.
No, you can do 4K, just not games.
All right.
But apparently, from the impressions I read of people that watched the Mixer stream from Microsoft of it, and you can watch it, I think, after the fact too in 4K, it was not super compressed. It was really good 4K, and people said it set the standard for how a conference should look visually. So kudos to them for that. I think that was a good call.
Yeah.
I think all of the people should do that. If you got a 4K game, you should show it in its best.
Right.
And hopefully, I'll get a 4K TV or monitor in the next few years and be able to watch it.
Well, they're not $700.
Because I own tons of 1080p stuff. I don't own any 4K. Do you own 4K, Alex?
No.
What'd you have to think about it?
Just in case, you never know.
And Pearson, you don't. No. Do you have above 1080p though? You've got 1440p, right?
Nope, 1080.
Alex,
I did.
you did.
And then you broke it.
Well, I guess I have a 1200, like 1920 by 1200. It's still slightly
Alright.
higher, but it's not.
It's
Either
the
way.
same. I don't think it's higher. It's just taller, so you're not actually getting a higher pixel density for the same width of a monitor.
I just meant
so
it's a higher number. I wasn't.
it's a higher number.
I wasn't getting
Yeah.
technical.
All right, so let's blow through some of these games real quick. Forza, we already talked about. Forza.
Oh, it's so good. So I just want to make the point. They showed off a car that's never been shown off before, and the crowd
and they were very proud of that
Yes.
car.
The crowd was not receptive.
Everyone knew that.
Yeah.
The crowd was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then
Metro Exodus looked beautiful.
Yeah, I'll definitely wait. Can't wait for actual gameplay.
But coming out on PS4, coming out on PC and Xbox, so
Yep.
non-exclusive. They made it look like gameplay. It's clearly not gameplay. Completely scripted. Just the in-engine is the best they can say for that.
Yep.
Then we got Assassin's Creed, which I think I had heard something that it was going to be there, so it wasn't a complete surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess
good.
we'll just go ahead and we'll get most of our Assassin's Creed talk out of the way here, since this was the bigger of the two gameplay presents between this and Ubisoft.
Is this the one that actually had the gameplay?
Yeah, they actually had a cinematic trailer and then gameplay, I believe. Or was it Ubisoft that had there was a wildlife trailer that was in slow motion. Was that at Ubisoft or Microsoft?
The only thing I can think of Assassin's Creed for Ubisoft is them videotaping a laptop or whatever.
So,
Yeah, I think it was Microsoft.
It's just burned in my brain.
I have a couple problems with this game. I'm super excited for it for the most part. I think you are too, Pearson. Yeah.
For once in my life.
My biggest problem with the game in general is it's Assassin's Creed.
Your biggest
It's a
problem
refined-
is it's Assassin's Creed.
Okay, so like when you're putting out a game every single year and sales start to decline, and then you're like, all right, we're taking a year off. To me, that says we're going back to the drawing board. We're coming with something fresh. It's going to be the same idea executed differently. And this, like, here's the problem. Assassin's Creed Origins looks like it could have come out last year, and I would not have been like, wow, how did they push out this brand new experience in so little time? Like, there's nothing about this game that says you took an extra year to produce it.
Well, I mean, what
they said they've been
more
what?
like they have a leveling system.
Well, yeah,
Like
there are
RPG
things that have
elements
changed
and stuff.
But to be fair, every Assassin's Creed, for the most part, added something that the previous year didn't have. You know, there were
The whole leveling system's pretty.
base building. There was, added stuff of ship combat and that whole open world system, which didn't exist in any of the games. They've added stuff before.
Yeah, but that's all.
And
like
I still
10.
think
That's like 5 guys in a basement. All right, we added ship combat.
Black Flag was vastly different than Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, there was ships.
And for the most part, an open world.
Oh, that's cool.
It was still kind of a hub world because you did have to like warp into some of the locations. But
All right, fair enough. So they have added and reiterated in the previous ones, and this one has not gone beyond what you think it should have.
the big things to me, I think there's like 3 things that make this game special. And it's like, okay, 1, true open world, which they're saying you can go anywhere at any time, which I like. 2 is the combat system is different. Oh, and with the open world, I will say that it does have a day and night system that I think is like cyclical. It's not just because like in the old Assassin's Creed games, depending on what mission you were on, you were at a different day and night.
Right.
So what I would do is like get to a certain like a sunset mission, and then I just wouldn't do the mission, and then I would just run around the city because it was pretty and do all the side stuff then, because it's like I don't want to play during the night and I don't want to play just during the boring day.
Yeah.
Make it look good. So now it's gonna be changing like most open world games. So the second thing, combat systems changed, which you've got which I didn't learn this until watching the E3 Coliseum that Jeff Keighley hosted.
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of those talks
Before or after the
are really
fire?
good. Yeah, the fire was good.
They had a fire?
Yeah, the stage caught on fire in the middle of Spider-Man's presentation there.
So you're saying Spider-Man was pretty hot?
You just see smoke like coming from the ceiling,
Oh my
and they're
God.
like, we're gonna take a break here and kind of clear the stage, and then it's like technical difficulties for like half an hour. So yeah, But yeah, before that, actually, like 1 or 2 talks before that, they had the lead developer of Assassin's Creed, who this is the same team that made Assassin's Creed 4, and they said that this is what they've been working on since then. So that's kind of cool. They said that the combat system is different because previously it worked on a hitbox, or not a hitbox system, an animation system. All attacks were tied to animations.
Yeah.
Which you notice, like sometimes you'd press the button to attack with your sword, and your character would do anything. It had to be like in just the right spot for you to go into an animation with the enemy and stab them or do whatever. And now it is a free swinging hitbox system, so you can swing your sword at air and miss. And I think that's cool. It's not groundbreaking. It's not like...
I mean, it is for Assassin's Creed, but in terms
it
of making video games, it's not.
They had to rewrite the game.
Yeah, basically.
Start from the ground up to a
That's what took an
system.
extra year, was that hitbox system.
Well, I mean, it's a new system. It adds time to
No,
it.
but I can't even name another open world game that has animation tied combat system. Like,
some indie game.
why? Oh, 2017. And it's the first game that came out 10 years ago, 2007, and you're just now changing the combat system.
And it works.
I don't know.
People liked it.
I don't know if anyone who ever
People
said,
liked it.
"Oh, those Assassin's Creed games have the greatest combat system."
Well, people kept buying the game for
I
some
hit
reason.
counter a bunch of times. It was great.
Yeah, that's all you did. You just like block, counter, block, counter. That was the whole game.
Yep.
Hidden blade. That's the only weapon you need for the entire game. It's like,
Use
oh,
another
you want to
game.
buy this sword for 16,000 gold? No, because I got my hidden blade. So
I thought that's how you were supposed to play the game. That's all I did.
what?
Just hit and blade
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. So the third thing that makes this game
Arrows.
different. No,
Arrows that you can guide with your mind. That was the best thing.
it was
about
the leveling system. That's what it was. Leveling system. This is more of an RPG now. All the enemies have levels. You have levels. So, and there's a skill tree, which I personally really like skill trees. And from a lot of people that were playing the demo and they like actually took time to look at the skill trees, they said it was pretty in depth. And I think what they said, I might be thinking of a different game, but they said that you could put skill points into the same thing in a skill tree multiple times to level up that one point in the tree. I'm 90% sure that's the game that they were saying that about. And I don't think that there was a small limit to that, so you could like do it like several times on like that one skill to make that skill have more power. So those three things really excite me about the game, but I think what it comes down to with this game is I would have a better appreciation and opinion of this game after E3 if I hadn't heard about the setting a year ago, if I hadn't heard about the team that was working on it, if I hadn't heard the main character's name, if I hadn't seen his picture, if I hadn't seen screenshots of him on a boat in the Nile. And it's like,
No, that's your problem, Matt, is you're following this stuff too closely.
You could barely avoid this stuff if you're on the internet and you know if you follow anything with games.
Dark.
There was like, it was weekly almost at one point where just stuff was coming out and here's more and now we know the name and here's a screenshot and here's a developer saying what they know about the game. And it's like, there was not a whole lot that was surprising in that reveal. Overall, graphically, it looks good, not great to me. It looks like an open world game, and I guess I can't fault it for that.
None of the Assassin's Creed games are known for its fidelity.
I mean, Syndicate looks pretty good, and Unity looks great.
Yeah, it looks great, but it wasn't like, oh man, look at how crisp and art style.
Unity's art style.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember playing some of them, and it's like, it looks good, but not. Like, amazing.
Unity used a whole kind of new system, and they used some pre-baked lighting on their interiors, and they looked stunning in some of those like French palaces. It's like you look at screenshots now, and you're like, wow, but that game came out like what 2-3 years ago.
Didn't that game have a lot of bugs? Weren't there
That game is not. That's probably one of the lower tier Assassin's Creed games in terms of overall package, is what I hear. But in terms of graphics,
They didn't have faces, man.
in the beginning they patched that.
Oh, they added. That's great.
Yeah, DLC faces. All right, Pearson. I know you're excited about Assassin's Creed, so tell me what you thought.
If it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, I would be just as excited for this game.
Okay.
Because I just want to play an open world game set in ancient Egypt, because
Yeah.
I'm a history major. And I have a love of ancient history, especially Egypt. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
You are not getting this game when it comes out.
I'm not
right?
getting this game when it comes out.
So you're excited.
I'm
but
excited
patient.
to eventually play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And point out all the flaws.
Yeah. I am currently playing through all the Assassin's Creed games. I'm waiting for some to go on sale because I'm cheap. So
I had some opinions during the trailer on certain monuments that were shown. So
yeah. And I had some opinions during the trailer of some gameplay things that were shown.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely some things that I saw that I was like, yeah. But then there was things like, oh, okay, that's the same as it always was, and they could have done a little more. I think, like having played Shadow of Mordor and stuff since playing the last Assassin's Creed game that I played. To me, it's like when I was playing it, I'm like, oh. This is like Assassin's Creed, but more fun.
Yeah, I mean, they just made another safe. They had like changed
Assassin's
enough
Creed,
where it's like,
Lord
oh,
of the
it's
Rings.
a little different,
But it's not just
still
Assassin's
an
Creed, but Lord of the
Assassin's Creed.
Rings. It was like Assassin's Creed and Batman Arkham games together because you had the combat system from one and the traversal system from the other,
and Nemesis.
and the Nemesis system of its own, which that's why I enjoyed that game so much. So let's just jump straight to that since we're on that topic. Let's talk about Shadow of War real quick. That trailer was pretty long.
pretty
They showed
awesome.
off quite a bit of stuff. It showed some personality to your little orc guy.
Yes.
Whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Had the
Snaggletooth.
accent and whatnot. Yeah.
I don't know what his name was.
I'm pretty excited about that game. I was excited before E3. I don't think there was anything in E3 that was like, yeah, now I'm way more excited. And actually some of the gameplay that I had watched before, like during the initial reveal, they had like a 20-minute long, here's the game. And they just like played through a whole mission and narrated it. I feel like I know more about it from that, and I have a better impression from that than I would from this little trailer if that was the first thing I had ever seen. So I think they could have sold it a little better. To kind of differentiate it from the first game. Tell me why this one is better, because that's what that original gameplay thing did. It's like, oh, you're taking over these strongholds, and here's how you have these recruits, and you're gonna fight this battle. You're gonna ride a dragon to get into the fortress, and then you're going to fight this boss battle inside against this one guy, and then you get to decide, do you kill him, do you not kill him? Like, that was a really cool, like 20-minute long slice of the game.
Right.
This was okay. I still am excited about it. Some impressions I heard from the show floor is that the game is in rough shape, and it comes out in October, I think. Comes out soon, which is not good because people said there was tons of clipping and glitchy animations, and a game that's 4 months away from release should not be in that state.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been an old build.
Yeah, but there's games that are not coming out for a year that are playing better than that game live.
August 22nd.
I think it got delayed. That was its original
That was the
release date.
original one? Okay.
Yeah,
Well-
99% sure it got delayed to October.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. All right, State of Decay 2.
Zombie
Anybody?
game.
Yeah.
Never played the first one.
I heard a lot of negative stuff about the first one, and I'm hearing a lot of positive stuff about the second one from people that played the first one, saying they fixed all the stuff that I didn't like. So I might give it a try.
10th.
It sounds okay.
All right,
It
next
sounds like a fun co-op experience with the permadeath, if I'm not mistaken. If you die, you lose everything, and you're come back as a new character. I think.
I
game. So
believe
it's just
so.
like
You
like
can
every
go
other
find
zombie
your
game.
stuff. I assume.
Oh, so it's like art.
I don't know. So, Super Lucky's Tale.
It looks like just like a normal game, an old style platformer.
It's a VR game that is not a VR game anymore because it didn't sell enough on VR.
That makes sense.
From the impressions on the show floor that I heard, it's really fun, really challenging, not a kid's game kind of thing, and plays kind of, like the old games. It's like Ukulele set out to do what it set out to do, but it was almost too much of the old and not enough new gameplay mechanics,
Right.
and this is more like modernized nostalgia compared to just nostalgia. So
Just a
They made a
straight
game
shot
and
of
they're like,
nostalgia.
I love this genre of game. Let's just make another one. And that's what they did.
So Crackdown 3.
I love
Terry
Terry
Crews?
Crews.
Here you go.
Yeah, that was the big thing there. Anything impressive in that game? In the trailer?
It looked fun, but I mean, nothing was like I remember. Shout out.
Real funny anecdote. Jeff Keighley was interviewing one of the developers, and they were talking about the game and performance, and we're doing 4K, blah 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 blah. And then he talked about frame rate, and Jeff Keighley's like 60 frames per second on Xbox One X. He's like 30 frames per second. Like it was just the way he said it. It
On
was
the
like,
One
How
X.
disappointing.
Oh
yeah,
no.
on this brand new system that you're really
So,
pushing hard.
so like when I said firing as many explosive projectiles as possible, 30
Yeah.
frames per second. Okay.
I mean, for the most part, especially a game like Crackdown, I would rather have 60 frames per second than 4K.
Yeah.
When you got explosions going on and it's open world and everything, and there's just mayhem around you, smoothness takes precedence to clarity to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
Life is Strange, Before the Storm.
The prequel.
Oh, dude.
The prequel.
Spoilers.
At first, I thought they had announced that there was a sequel coming, like a week before E3, and then I saw that trailer, so I instantly think, "Oh, this is the sequel."
Yep.
Then I find out it's a prequel.
And you thought you had a
And-
spoiler.
Yeah. And since then, I've finished playing Life is Strange through. Love it, absolutely. But very excited for this. It's made by a different studio, though, which kind of worries me. It is also the voice actor that plays Chloe, who is the main protagonist in the prequel and the second main protagonist in the original game. Not who you play as, but who the game's about, really.
Right.
Is played by a different voice actress
Yes.
in the prequel because of the what is it, SAG-AFTRA,
Yeah.
which is the screen, the guild, basically the
Screen
the
Actor
union.
Guild.
It's not screen actors, but it's voice actors
Yeah.
for video games.
Yeah,
They're striking
so-
against certain companies, and it just so happens to be Square Enix is one of them, and so yeah,
So you said the voice
different
actor
different
Guild?
lady.
Something like that.
It's a union.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ashley Birch will
The
not
voice-
be the voice.
Right, and she was also the voice of Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn, so she's
As well as Tiny Tina in Borderlands.
she's got some big titles on her resume, so it'll be sad to see her not reprising that role. I still am excited for the game. It's supposed to be 3 episodes and not full priced, so I might pick that up pretty soon. And then looking forward to the sequel when that comes out. Sea of Thieves.
Look cool. A lot of
Yeah.
unanswered questions, but it looks cool.
I'd say Sea of Thieves had the best looking water of any game at E3.
Even better than the other part game?
Yeah, because there was one point where like the camera is like fixed place and the wave rises up and the ship is on top of the wave and the sun is like shining through the water and it's like this green instead of blue. And go back and watch that gameplay trailer and
You're talking about the
You'll see what I'm talking
cartoony pirate game, right?
yeah,
Okay.
best water,
Fair enough.
Best water. Still won't
best
play.
water for sure.
Water's hard to do. Not a lot of people do it good.
You won't play it, Pearson? Why not?
Lack of interest, I
Hate
guess.
pirates.
Plus,
It's a co-op game.
yeah.
no
You wouldn't play it with people?
Matt, there's no
Maybe?
Egypt in it.
I mean,
I don't feel like
I would rather play.
I don't wanna play it
like,
with
a
random
less
people.
cartoony version.
I don't want to play with random people. I don't want to play it by myself. I want to play it with people I know.
Right.
I feel like I'd have a good time with it. All the impressions that came out of people that played it with groups from E3 were like, this is going to be so much fun when it comes out. You're just going to do nothing for a couple hours and get drunk on a boat and get eaten by a shark.
That sounds like fun.
Matt's so excited about those sharks.
Ugh.
Super scary.
Then they showed off like 20-something indie games, I think. 19 or 20.
Like in a montage.
Yeah.
It's like they start out the show, we're going to show you 30-something games.
42, I think, was
42
the name.
was the total, yeah.
Number, yeah.
And
They hit it.
half of them are in this.
Yeah. There were some good things in there, but not a whole lot just jumping out of me right now of what to talk about.
And it was like a flash of each game, so there's not much to even talk about.
Yeah.
It's not like it was like, oh, hey, this thing's coming out.
We had Ori 2, which is called Ori Will of the Wisp, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Scored by a piano live on stage, which I thought was a nice touch. Beautiful trailer. Don't know enough about the game, haven't played the first one to know if it's a good improvement on the first one, but it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
So, they talked about backwards compatibility, which I think was a fun little announcement.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Especially for what it's compatible.
Xbox Original.
Yeah.
Xbox Prime, as I like to
pretty
call
sweet.
it. So, they only announced one game.
And it's more than they had before.
Crimson Skies. And then later, so I watched an interview. What? What?
The interview that you watched, where he was like, "Yeah, we totally talked about this one too."
Yeah, this game. He kind of like accidentally dropped another game that he had thought they announced, but they didn't.
What game?
Fusion Frenzy.
Oh, okay.
So I highly recommend that both of you and anybody watching watch Giant Bomb's E3 at night segments. They did 3 days that were 6 hours long each, and with breaks in the middle. But like 45-minute long interviews with several developers or people. Some of them aren't worth watching, but there are a couple that are really, really good. It's a very casual format, and you get a lot of information. It's not just like straight up, here's my paper of pre-approved questions that you can ask me about this thing, and we're going to say our marketing thing. It's like just talking about the game or talking about whatever. So the Phil Spencer one, which I think was the first segment on night 2 of their coverage, very good, very interesting. Not just about Xbox, about gaming in general, about trends in gaming and kind of where the industry's going. And he talked about the Xbox One X and why they priced it at $500, and he talked about backwards compatibility and mentioned another game there. And then in a later interview, I think somebody asked him, I think it was PC Gamer, asked him if it would ever come to Xbox compatibility come to PC, and he says that he wants to do it. It's not like they're saying no. He says there's technical limitations preventing it because they're right now when they're making it for Xbox One, it's a fixed SKU, or at least 3 fixed SKUs with Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X. But with PC, it's just near infinite combination of different hardware. So
yeah, but
he's
they're
saying
still
maybe
working
in the future. I think it's
with
likely that we'll see
consistent
next
stuff.
generation. You'll see Xbox One backwards compatible with the previous one. I think I like what they're doing, and I think that it's setting a standard. It'd be nice for Sony to do it because, I mean, my PS3 played PS2 and PS1 games, and my PS4 could handle those games, even if it's just brute force emulation. But no, we're not even gonna try. Here, you can buy these classics up on the store for $20.
Yeah, Matt. Why emulate when you could just buy it again?
Yeah. If it was like
Okay, Nintendo.
upscale 1080p, yeah, but it's not. So, and then the last thing that they showed off at Microsoft was Anthem, which we had just talked about. So,
It's pretty sweet.
what do we think of Anthem?
Looked entertaining, but I've seen games like this. It's like big cinematic trailers, cool little things. Like, wow, that's so awesome, and it's crap.
I was
Wow.
already planning on playing Destiny 2, so probably won't play Anthem.
I'll give it a chance, but
I think there's no way that Anthem sells more than Destiny 2.
I think so.
Like, I'd say even by a factor of 2. I think Destiny 2 will outsell Anthem by a factor of 2.
2 to 1.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, Destiny still has like a big following, so
I think
I believe it.
Destiny 1 will outsell Anthem by a factor of 2 to 1.
All right.
Yeah, Bioware, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many they sold. A million?
No, Destiny had an immense amount of hype leading up to it.
You had too much hype.
I think when it came out, it was the biggest launch of a new IP in all history of video games. So,
Bold.
all right. Anything else from Microsoft? What do you think they did with their show? Positive, negative?
6 out of 10.
In case you're wondering, Destiny only on the PS4 has sold 5.6 million copies. So that does not include any Xbox ones or the PlayStation 3.
I'd say you can add another 3 million to that. So let's say 8 or 9 million.
Just add an extra 3 billion to it.
I think the main distraction for Anthem's trailer that really took me out of it was the fake
Yes.
gamer chat
the
VO.
classic fake gamer chat.
Like, hey, let's wait for so and so. It's free XP, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that just don't do it. Don't do it.
What was that other game that Ubisoft put out?
Division.
Yep, that's it. Oh.
And Ghost Recon.
Oh my gosh.
Both of those trailers had that fake talk. Hate it. All right, so positive, negative, Microsoft. What do we think?
I'd say mostly positive.
Better than EA.
Better than EA.
I think that they showed off a lot of games. They had a lot of diversity in their games, which is what they talked about at the beginning. Like, here's our goal today.
But
I think their goal should have been, here's why you want an Xbox One X, and that did not come over to me.
No exclusives.
So that took it down a little bit for me, but overall I think it was a better show than they've had in previous years. I think it was a good show, but yeah, you're right. Not a lot of exclusives, even though every few minutes they're like exclusive Xbox and Windows 10. But it's like for
Oh my
launch
god.
exclusive
That was so annoying.
for like what 2 months, and then it comes out on the other systems, and then it won't matter.
During their press conference is so stupid.
Mass Effect 1 was a
What?
Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, no, but just
console
I mean just in the
exclusive, but
conference
now it's
itself,
not.
every time it said
Now Mass Effect ended up on PS3 and the Wii U. So, oh man. All right, Bethesda.
I enjoyed it.
Do we have to talk
Oh, yeah?
about it? I guess we have
Yeah.
to talk about this.
Yeah, there's some things to talk about.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
Sure.
They had the theme park, Bethesda Land.
Yeah, they had a whole theme to their
Cool
EA announcement or
theme,
E3 announcement.
Bad pacing.
Yeah. I mean that all.
I appreciate that they saved their big announcements till the end. It was like end on a good note, end on an exciting thing, which I thought was good.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of just running through their whole catalog, just kind of like, just
Yeah,
talking
too
about
much of
what they had.
games that are already out. You know,
Oh, like that one game. Oh, what's that one game? Oh,
I think it starts
Skyrim.
with the
That's
yeah.
it. Get Skyrim.
That
on
game
there.
will die. Like Skyrim showed up at 3 different press conferences this year.
If Skyrim Mobile doesn't come out next year, then I don't know what's gonna happen.
Skyrim on smart fridges.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, that'd be great. You could drag and shout or whatever to open your fridge.
So, 2 things with Skyrim at this conference. They showed off the Switch version, which we already knew about, but now has amiibo support and motion controls, which we didn't know about.
Dumb.
And they talked about paid mods.
Pseudo paid mods.
Creation Club.
It was like almost DLC. So they said
Yeah.
the only people who can actually publish it to it is like registered or like whatever
Yep.
developers, partners.
It's pretty much a partner program. It is not just going to be submit your mod, get money
It's
for
not
it,
some kid
like
who's
it was
like,
on
oh,
Steam.
I stole this mod off the internet and now I'm gonna sell it.
Yeah, I'd say that reaction to this, from what I've read on the internet, has been mostly negative for most people.
Well, they tried it before. That was very negative. So then people just jumped on the same thing.
Yeah, like, I think modders should be compensated. I don't think they should always be free, but I think that the way they did it before was really bad, and I think that this addresses some of the ways they did it, and the main reason to me that it's like you could go on and on about how, like, oh, this stuff used to be free and now it costs money and that sucks, but at the end of the day, people worked on that, and, you know, you pay for stuff that people work on. You're not entitled to it.
I mean, water used to be free.
The downside to me of the old system that they try to implement and the upside of this new system is that these are verified to work with all the other mods and the game, not cause crashes and stuff, and not rely on other mods. Because that was a big thing. It's like, oh, you have to have this one mod to make this mod work, or some people like took stuff from one mod and put it into their mod and then sold it, and it's like, well, you know, it's not even your original work. And then if your game crashes and you paid for that mod, it's like, you know, there was no curation in that sense. So this is a good system to me. It's not just taking Steam Workshop and adding money to it.
No, I think this is good because I mean there are some people who don't want to mess with mods. Like you, I mean, there's guides to configure mods, and it's like 400 different downloads. So you can get pretty detailed. So this,
I'm not 100% on this, but from the look of it, it looks mostly cosmetic or weapons maybe, but not like game changing. I didn't see like new NPCs. I didn't see new.
What are you talking about? It's a crab. Some crab thing. What was it?
I just didn't see like the mods that I think of. Like when I want to mod Skyrim, yeah, sure, I'll add some vanity mods, but it's like I'm doing game changing stuff to make the game a better experience, and this is different than that.
Yeah,
this
it seems
like,
pretty straightforward.
Oh, new armor, new weapon. It's more like just what you would expect DLC to look like. So it's like, okay, you're outsourcing DLC. I'm okay with that as long as there's still the mods, and not everybody that makes mods can charge for this. I think this is a good system, and I think that if they didn't do this, they would try to do that other thing again that we didn't like. So I think we should just like say, this is good.
They really want
to
do something. Just let them. Maybe
yeah,
have them.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, one way or another.
It'll be interesting to see how it's integrated into future games, because this is putting it in Fallout. This is putting it in Skyrim. What about those future games? How will it be implemented?
I think Skyrim's it.
Yeah,
that's the pinnacle of Elder Scrolls.
Skyrim 2.
Yes.
Elder Scrolls 5 2. We're going Final Fantasy style.
Yeah. We're done.
Pearson's getting upset.
They're gonna make a fishing game. It's gonna
I
be
feel
great.
like I wouldn't play that game just to not encourage that behavior further.
Hey, if the game's good, I'll play it.
Jeez.
So we had Doom VR and Fallout VR. Anybody excited?
Nope.
I don't know. Doom VR might be fun, but
okay, I've got bad news for you.
oh, okay, it's not fun.
You tell.
I heard like 3 or 4 people's impressions from the show floor, and they said Doom is not fun, and it's like
vomited it on the ground.
well, because like Doom is hectic and crazy, and in VR it's not that, because you can't move, and so it's just different, and it is kind of nauseating, is what people said. To me, Fallout VR seems like the better experience of the two, and it's like this full game. You're playing Fallout in VR instead of just this like, it's kind of like Doom. It uses Doom assets. To me, Fallout is the one to get.
Well,
we had Dishonored 2.
Yeah.
What?
I was just saying, get a Vive and we can try it out when it comes out.
Yeah. Dishonored 2 expansion. Standalone. That's good. I like standalone expansions.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. I've heard a lot of people just like it's cheaper, so they try it and then they end up getting the original game. So I think it's a good way to get people introduced on a lower priced entry. And then the big 2 announcements of their show, Evil Within 2, which I thought had a fantastic trailer.
Oh yeah,
one of the best trailers at E3. Period.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah. Like that one point where like the hand comes up out of the milk and then the fingers bend backwards onto the shovel. It's like, yeah, that was
Creepy.
That was top tier stuff right there. I could have done without the song, the cover of the. What song was that?
No idea.
I could like hum it, but I couldn't tell you what song it was. But it seems like that's a common trend in video games. It's like, take this popular old song from a while ago and either make it really fast or really slow or add some distortion guitars.
Don't hum it.
I'm not humming it.
Just one little.
Don't do it.
I'll hum it later.
Oh, I want to try to guess now. All right, fine, fair enough.
I'll just look
But
it up
no,
later.
Evil
It'll be
Within
fine.
2 trailer was really good. They did well. It's creepy. People loved it. People were really excited about that.
Yeah, I don't like horror games very much. I appreciate them. I just don't enjoy them.
No, I remember people loved Evil Within. People like that game when it came out was a lot of people were talking about that game.
I actually want to play the first one and the second one now. I'm gonna try to force myself.
Let's keep the lights on.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do it with one of you two or somebody else because I can't play a game by myself. That's scary. But yeah, that was a good showing. It kind of got leaked the day before. It showed up on Reddit in one of those Reddit ads, like, "Hey, this game's coming," and it's like, "Oh, whoops, somebody put that up early." And then finally, kind of the big crunch of the show, Wolfenstein 2. What are your thoughts?
The trailer was cool. The beginning was definitely a little weird cuts. Like
the pacing of how they showed that game was strange.
Yeah, like it was, I don't know, 5 minutes total, maybe 8 minutes, something. Like the first probably like half was like, what? This is really weird pacing, cuts.
Yep.
But then it finished strong though.
It just kept jumping around to different scenes. Some of it was gameplay, some of it was not. It was just like different story cutscenes, long. Like they were showing off a lot of this different locations and cutscenes. It was a unique showing for sure. I like how he said it at the end. He's like, "Oh, you don't see that every day." Like a pregnant woman stabbing a Nazi while her partner is tripping on acid and picking up a cartoon chameleon.
Like, oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it's like that was a good ending to that gameplay segment. But yeah, I'm really excited for that game. I think it looks good. The impressions from the show floor were good. They built a whole diner on the E3 show floor. Yeah. And when you beat the demo, you got a milkshake from the diner.
Sick.
Yeah, it was really cool.
All right, you should go to E3 then.
For that. This is that $250 milkshake, yeah. And I think the whole gameplay demo that they had at E3, you were in the wheelchair, so it was like the beginning, and so you're like rolling around in a wheelchair shooting Nazis. It's a pretty unique game. I like what they're doing with that series. Part of the Giant Bomb at night, E3 at night, had the developer from that game, and so if you're interested, check that out, and some more details about kind of what they're trying to do with that series and the tone that they're taking with it. And it's funny, the juxtaposition of that versus Call of Duty, which is World War II, and it's like this one is so just over the top crazy, right?
Yeah. And
it's like alternate reality, but there's KKK members walking around in the streets in this demo.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Nazis in America, swastikas everywhere. And then Call of Duty World War II, I think they said there's parts of the game where there won't be swastikas. Because they don't want to offend people. It's like,
it's history, come on.
No, but if you're making a historic game, you don't censor the history.
Yeah.
If anybody should be censoring, it's someone like Bethesda doing Wolfenstein. Because they're doing this like over-the-top making fun of it kind of thing almost.
Right.
But it's like, if you're doing reverent history with Call of Duty, take it seriously, don't censor. That kind of, it's like it undoes what made that war, the imagery that made that war so bad. I don't know. That's just
especially you should be, you think Call of Duty is trying to evoke emotions like that.
Yeah. And imagery.
Yeah, I mean,
World War II.
They're using that imagery to evoke the emotions.
Yeah, the Nazi imagery is some of the strongest of any conflict, and it's just strange to me that they would censor that.
Yeah.
Especially this is the company that had you be a terrorist at an airport shooting civilians by the hundreds
Yeah, but I guess they didn't care.
in
'cause
Call of
it's
Duty
Russians.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, something like that.
That's like, I can't believe this is the same company, right?
Well, I think they definitely got some heat for that.
Yeah, but removing swastikas from a game is like, that's bad.
If anything,
Oh.
I mean, that's like background images. It's not like, yeah. It's so... The priorities of somebody who says, oh, we should remove swastikas. Oh, shooting civilians as a terrorist. Ah, whatever.
Like, I could see the being a terrorist shooting mobs of civilians as being more offensive than a swastika.
Yeah, no, it is. I can totally see why that's a problem, and then like just some pictures that you not notice in the game. But yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
the Bethesda
Overall, Bethesda,
Yeah.
what do you think?
it was pretty good. But
This is their third show.
yeah. No, I mean I enjoyed it. It was good trailers. They had a pretty good show. It wasn't too long. But I mean like it was just a video. No one the one guy came out and talked for some. So I mean people are saying that it could just been like just a show on a stream or something like that. They didn't need
Yeah.
a big old stage.
Apparently, what I'm hearing is that a lot of the stuff that the whole Bethesda Land theme outside of their show, they had a lot of booths that you could go and
All
get
right.
like milkshakes and go do these. So apparently, the people that went said it was like one of the best E3 shows they've ever been to because of the context of it.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. If they're doing stuff with the area that
Yeah.
you're not seeing on the stream.
Yep. All right, Devolver, real quick.
Exciting.
All right, PC gaming show.
Devolver, they did good.
No, they did.
They had their own satirical.
Okay, I love the commentary on E3. I thought it was great. Just the like lady coming out and doing like corporate talk and all the just
The fake crowd
stock-
shots.
stock-
Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah. I think
Toward
it was only 15 minutes, but it went on for too long.
Yeah, pretty
That's the
much.
best way to describe it. The joke got old, but where were the games? That's the problem with that.
They had 2 games.
2 or 3, yeah, just nothing.
Yeah, it'd been better. It'd been awesome if they had like Hotline Miami, another one like that. That'd have been
Yeah.
much. That'd have been better.
The question is, why have this conference? To
fun.
me,
People now know what Devolver is. They're like, oh, Devolver. Oh, they make that one game.
they made that one show.
They made a few games, or they published a few games.
They're
Yeah, they didn't
little
even
nuts.
make 'em.
So I think it was more that, just kind of like a joke, kind of just getting your name out there.
Yep. All right, PC Gaming Show. This is also their third show. Move through this one pretty quickly. There weren't a lot of huge announcements. And to be fair, PC Gaming is not a company to announce games, so it's like they're doing the best they can. I
PC
appreciate
Gamer
that
is
it's
a
there.
company.
Yeah,
They
but
put
they're
it
not
on.
a publisher, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I
Fair
mean,
enough, sir.
they publish magazines.
Yeah, fair. This is very fair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we wrote down what, 5 the biggest things, and they're not that big. So
Well,
let's just blow through them real quick.
All right, fair enough.
So we got XCOM 2 expansion.
That's pretty good.
That'll
People
be
like
great.
excited.
Once they release the complete collection, I can buy it and play it.
Yeah.
I will
It was funny, though,
absolutely
because-
take an energy sword in XCOM.
Between E3 conferences, I was playing XCOM, so it was like, ooh, XCOM. That's nice. Yep. Then let's see what else we have. We have
Ooh,
Lawbreakers.
that looked really good. I'm
You're
excited,
excited about
that.
Lawbreakers.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get it?
I think
$30 at launch.
Yeah, I think so.
They said
might-
$30, and then all future content will be free in terms of maps and new.
I would
operators,
probably
heroes,
wait
whatever.
at least a week, just see how it goes. Like
Okay.
I'm excited, but I mean, maybe the game, I don't know, blows your computer up. I'll wait a week.
Isn't there an open beta?
Is there?
Yeah. Sign up. Look it up right
Oh,
now.
it was like a pseudo closed beta, right? It's like, wow,
I
it's
think-
open, but
The game comes out in August, and between now
You
and
have
then
to
there is an
sign
open
up
beta.
and wait for the invite.
it says it's closed beta right now.
Yeah, but search open beta.
They have both. It's stupid. There's 2 articles. Like, here's a closed beta. Oh, there's also a open beta.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what's
the
the next game?
impressions I'm hearing from this game are extremely fast and chaotic.
Yeah, got a little bit of chaos.
Like Overwatch on steroids, basically.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah. So I appreciate that it's $30. I like Cliffy B. I think he's super honest. I watched an interview with him on GameSpot's E3 coverage stage. It was just, telling it like it is, saying I don't expect to sell as much as anybody else in the genre we're in. It's just like, I appreciate the honesty. It's not just PR, it's just him talking. So he talked about all the different publishers that he jumped from in order to get to, what is it, Nexon, I think is the publisher I ended up with. So
yeah, I think that sounds right. But yeah, it's an open beta if you pre-order the game. If you have
It's not an open beta then.
Yeah, I don't know why they say it.
There is an open beta, I'm pretty sure.
I believe that's called a founder's pack.
Because he specifically said in that interview, he's like, if you're just curious about it, just try the beta when it's open.
I don't know. I guess you could sign up and maybe get into it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, Tunic.
That looked like a nice, cute game.
Yeah, it's like a little Zelda with a fox.
We got Felix come out and talk about it for like 3 seconds. But yeah, it looked really cute.
Yeah. Felix is the lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was on Giant Bomb
Oh,
at the E3. So they did a segment and they talked about the game, so I got a little bit more on that.
gotcha.
What was I going to say about that? Oh, it used to be called Secret of Legend? Secret of something?
Secret of Nem?
Wow.
No. It was like 2 generic words together. And they said they changed it because nobody could remember the name after they played it.
Good. Who wants some generic name? That's the problem.
Looks like a game I'd like to play, so. I like the art style.
Good conversation.
I followed them on Twitter, so I'm just scrolling back to where they talked about the fact they're actually going to talk about it.
It looked like a nice, fun $5
They
game.
post so much stuff.
Oh, it's not going to be $5.
It will be eventually. That's how it does.
It'll be in a humble bundle eventually.
Yeah. But, what, the Wargroove, though?
Wargroove. Yeah, let's talk about Wargroove. I knew about this game before it was at the show. I'm very excited for this game. It's basically like a medieval style Advanced Wars. And the people that are making it are like, yeah, this is an Advanced Wars clone. And like even Nintendo featured in one of their Nintendo Directs, so I just appreciate that it exists. I'm excited for it. I'm willing to give it a try. I think it'll be fun. They made, I think on that show they made a map live, right? In like less than 2 minutes. They, like,
Oh
created a
yeah.
little scenario.
That little just drops the blocks down and then you have a whole map.
Yeah, it's good. And then I think the biggest announcement for this show was Age of Empires 1 Remastered.
Yeah,
that the biggest announcement?
that was the big thing. It's like finally the last game we're gonna announce. Remastered.
So, I mean, let's see. Alex, you were at my house when we watched this, right?
Yeah.
And you were there, obviously, Pearson.
Yeah.
I was freaking out when this segment started. When they started talking about this.
Secret Legend. Sorry.
Secret Legend.
Secret Legend.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a dumb name.
So when they started to show off this Age of Empires, I was like, "Is this?" I was so convinced in my mind that it was Age of Empires 4, and so excited. And so like, if it wasn't that right at that moment,
Yeah.
no matter what it was, I was gonna hate it.
Right.
So I kind of hate it just because it's not that, and it totally got my hopes up.
Yeah.
Just looking for what it is, it's Age of Empires, a completely new engine with 3D sprites instead of the 2D. Looks great. I really wish that Age of Empires 2 got the same treatment that this one did for its remaster. From what I'm hearing, though,
So I have that
Windows
one.
Store exclusive.
It's what?
Windows Store exclusive. Not coming to Steam
What?
right now.
Right now.
Age of Empires Remastered.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think that's dumb.
I'm not saying it's a good idea, but that's what they did.
Age of Empires 2 and 3, and even they had like a free-to-play game. All of those were on Steam. It's like, we're gonna take this remaster and keep it exclusive for our store. I bet within a year that'll be on Steam though. So,
Dumb.
all right, moving right along. Ubisoft. Oh, real quick, PC Gaming Show. What'd you think?
I'm glad they have it.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing really
Could have been
exciting
better.
this year.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only.
I mean, the first time they had the show was 4 hours long, and it was like maybe half an hour's worth of content. So it's like, I appreciate what they're doing. They're getting better. Every year is a little better than the previous year. They just need some big announcements. It would have been nice to have seen Civilization 6 expansion. I think it's time to show that.
Yeah.
The game's been out for half a year. It's like rebuild the hype.
Yep.
More than half a year.
Mm-hmm.
Almost closing in on a year. So, all right, Ubisoft. We open with Shigeru Miyamoto coming up on stage holding a gun, basically.
Oh yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So, little backstory. Mario plus Rabbids Battle Kingdom was leaked a couple weeks leading up to E3. Pretty much most of the key art was shown and some slides kind of describing what the game was and the characters and like, I knew this game existed. It had been rumored for months and months and months and months, but when that came out, I was kind of like, oh, this is what it is. I was kind of excited. I was thinking it was going to be more of like a Mario RPG style, and then it was not. But
then it was.
I gotta
really
say,
not.
yeah. Then I gotta say that this gameplay demonstration and trailer sold me on this game.
Yeah, no, it looked really fun. It's XCOM for Mario.
It is XCOM Mario, and
it's a beautiful thing.
It's beautiful. Like, and not just it's a beautiful thing, but it's also really beautiful. It's a good-looking game for a Switch title. All the gameplay impressions I've heard have been positive from the show floor. They had the developer sitting in the audience. They showed him, and he was crying.
Oh,
that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He loves this game. It's awesome.
Somebody made him a shirt with him crying and gave it to him, and there's a picture on the internet.
I saw that on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
So, yeah. Totally.
I mean,
just
Miyamoto just told you that he really was happy with the game that you made with Mario.
Yeah.
What else are you gonna do?
The big takeaway from this is like, what I think it was Miyamoto told him, or told the studio, is like, you're getting the Mario license, don't make a Mario game, make something else. And they didn't make a Mario game, and it looks great, and it fits. Like,
no, it does.
The Rabbids I'm not 100% sold on, but like Rabbid Princess Peach with her selfie phone and stuff, it's like, all right, that's a little much for me, but this is unlike any Mario game that's come before it, and it looks like stunning.
Now,
like, bravo to them.
This looks like a fun game on a Switch.
Yeah, when you finally do get a Switch ever, you should get that and Zelda and Mario Odyssey.
Switch 2, there you go.
Switch Lite, Switch HD Pro.
A Switch Lite, that's just Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
Switch X.
So then we saw Assassin's Creed Origin, kind of couldn't see it, because...
Kind of couldn't see it?
Yeah, because they went out to a room that was kind of outside, like it must have had a skylight or something, and the sun was shining directly on a screen, and the camera like kept zooming in on it. As it zoomed in more, it got darker and darker, so you couldn't see what was going on.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was terrible.
They didn't think about it like, oh, sunlight, what's that?
Or maybe we should just show a feed of the computer.
Yeah, that was the low point of the conference to me, which I guess is good that that's your low point.
Yes.
Like that, a bad showing of Assassin's Creed, which we saw a lot of in the previous day. So
yeah,
true that.
Yep. Then we had Crew 2, which it's the Crew. It's the Crew 2.
It's like, whoa, you can have boats and planes and other stuff. It's like, what? This game looks interesting.
I feel like I would be more interested in this game if you didn't already start as like the world's best everything. Like, if it was like, you have to learn how to do and race all of these different things so you could eventually be the best, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I might play this game. But it's like, you are the best in the world at everything. I'm like, then I don't care.
You are God.
I just don't care. What's the point?
Okay, so I've got some anecdotes about this. Real quick.
Please, real quick.
Crew 1, not... Like, I never played it. I kind of wanted to, but I just never got around to it. It never got cheap enough for me. And now if I'm going to play something, it's going to be the second one. Because the Crew 1 is kind of the same thing, just expanded. Like, they took a lot of the same maps and just added more to it in between and further out. So, there's not... They kind of made the Crew 1 obsolete. But I watched a GameSpot interview with one of the developers. It was really good. And... it kind of sold me on this game, which I wasn't sold after the press conference. Some things to note. He said that the game is much bigger. He said the original, you could drive across it in 45 minutes. He said this one will take about 3 to 4 hours, which you think about an open world that takes 4 hours to traverse in a car.
You're saying they slowed down the car?
No, they've added more stuff, more cities, more everything. And he also said that in the trailer they had the whole Inception thing where like the world like bends around and everything. And he said that originally that wasn't in the game. And then the trailer was being made and they were showing off like pre-versions of the trailer. And one of the game like directors said, "I love that. Let's put that in the game." And so like within the last few months, in order to get ready for E3, they added this mechanic. So whenever you're changing like cities and stuff, then like you're going down a bridge, and then it like loops up as you're going across the bridge, and then you go into the new city. So it looks pretty cool actually, and they showed some live versions of that, so it's not just that weird trailer.
So this is going to be your new Burnout?
No, I don't. I mean, from the gameplay impressions I heard from the floor, everybody said it feels better than the Crew 1. They love how seamless everything is. Like, you could be in a plane flying over water, hit one button, and then you turn into a boat and land in the water.
You turn into a boat?
It's like you just, you become a boat. So, super seamless. I think it's a co-op game. You play with your friends and just drive around and do stuff. I think it could be fun. I don't think it's going to be the new GTA or anything, but I think it could be fun. I think it's going to do better than the first Crew, and just based off that interview is what really like said, I might give the game a shot if I can get it for a decent price. So moving right along, South Park.
Still coming.
South Park.
Yeah, never played the first one, but it looks cool.
Please play the first one. It's really good.
Fair enough.
It's like, it's a good game. It's not just South Park. Like,
no, I heard it's actually like a really good game. Stick of Truth.
It's made by Obsidian. It's an RPG made by Obsidian.
Yeah, no, I've watched some clips from it. It's pretty good.
Yep. And just when you think that they couldn't take it further, they take it further.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It goes places.
It definitely does.
There's a scene where you're in an abortion clinic and you're fighting a mutated aborted fetus as a boss battle. And it is
not the worst thing in that game.
Nope.
Wait, they're also Nazis, aren't they?
Oh, there are Nazi zombies, yeah.
And
there's Nazi zombie cows, and there's Nazi zombie fetuses, I think. Yeah. Oh, there's some fetuses. Yeah, there's this game goes crazy. It goes off the rails. So this one just looks like that, but more, and they've done more to the battle system. So now it's like, instead of just completely like you versus them, there's actually like 3D. You move around in the environment a little bit and tactics. And apparently the show writers have been involved since day one, which they weren't from the game. So
that's
maybe it'll be
sweet.
a little more cohesive, yeah. And it's been taking a while, so to me, it's like when this game gets delayed, I'm like, good. that's good. They're adding more to it. They're refining things. I'm not worried about this game. It's coming out. It's going to be good when it comes out. The last game was good. I'm not worried. So take as long as they need, I say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with this kind of game.
Speaking of South Park, they announced a mobile game a little later in that show.
Yep.
What was it called?
Phone Destroyer.
Yeah. Might be fun.
Yeah. It's on your phone, right?
Yeah. Skull and Bones.
That looked pretty cool.
Sea of Thieves, but not anything like Sea of Thieves. And Assassin's Creed 4, but without all the actual game.
Yeah, I mean, is that what they
style,
said?
But less stuff to do.
I'm really curious about how they're going to market this game, because it's, from what they're saying, it's like PvP, that's it.
Yeah.
And they're like, they teased the PvE with like the Kraken at the very end, but right now all they're showing off is PvP, and it's 5v5, and there's seasons, so it feels like it's going to be like For Honor to me, where it's
But with pirates.
multiplayer. Yeah, For Honor with a boat. And apparently it's not even like you're a pirate on a boat, you just are the boat, you control the boat.
Yeah, you're the boat.
No.
Yeah.
It kind of looks. I mean, people really like World of Warships.
That's true.
Yeah. I just don't think this is going to have the appeal of that.
Maybe not, but it looked pretty sweet.
Right.
Like the trailer looks sweet, but
There's,
I mean, it could
there's
just
People
a lot
be
of,
like
another-
melee combat, but For Honor kind of died a little bit.
there's a lot of tactical things in World of Warships.
Yeah. I think we're too far out to really know everything about this game.
they showed a lot of. It seemed somewhat tactical. It's like, oh, this ship is good at blah blah blah, and then you could
Yeah.
use this and ram ships. Visually, it looked pretty.
The couple of gameplay impressions that I heard from people were that they were saying it's very complicated and kind of difficult to control everything.
Oh
So,
yeah, it looks super complicated, and normal like people who just want to play a game aren't gonna play this game.
yeah.
This is
My
not a
concern
15-minute game. This game looks like an hour and a half. You're playing this game.
My concern is that if it's like For Honor, that might be a bad thing. I think that it can't be a $60 game if it's just the PvP 5v5 pirates. And I mean, this seems like the kind of game you would do either $30 or free to play with some kind of cosmetic model.
Nah, I think they're still gonna do $60 though.
I mean, Ubisoft's been saying that they're going to start going towards games as a service as their main moneymaker, and you look at like Rainbow Six being supported with new operators, new content all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more cheaper or free-to-play games, because they dropped the price of Rainbow Six pretty quickly, and they even have that starter pack that's like $15. You get right into the game. So I think that For Honor needs a shot in the arm for it to stay alive, because it's a good game. It just wasn't enough for people, I guess.
Maybe
you know?
cut off an arm or something.
Oh, that was a good one. And I'll be interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely
So-
interested to see how it goes. It looked good,
So
but
to me, the ship battles were not the best part of Assassin's Creed 4. That's just me personally. So it was just kind of like, if you're going to charge $60 for that one segment of the game, multiplayer, but it's like, think of all of the content that Assassin's Creed 4 had plus the ship combat, and it was $60. That's how I view it. So
I
It's
paid
like,
$10 for that game.
it's like they have these 10 guys who all they really did was the ship combat, and they're like, well, we ain't got nothing for you. So how about you go make this other game? It's all the ship combat.
if it was something I had never done in a game before, it'd be different. But this is like, all right, I've done ship combat in several of your games even. Like, you're going to have to really sell me on a $60 experience for this game. All right, we got Starlink.
Oh, yeah, that game.
Yeah, so it's like a Toys to Life, No Man's Sky, basically.
All right.
And that's all there is to say
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, it's weird looking
Yeah.
game.
Far Cry 5, what do we think?
Neat concept.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm excited about Far Cry 5. I think the setting looks good. The trailer wasn't the best to me. I think there was a little bit of confusion. They kind of made it seem like you could have multiple co-op partners with the guy in the plane and the sniper lady and the dog, but apparently you can only have one at a time. So
Oh, I assume
we'll
those
see.
were just AIs or something.
They are, but you can only have one at a time. Where the trailer
Oh.
is like jumping from one to the next.
So it's not
and
Wildlands where you can have like.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
There's probably a co-op element, but they haven't really talked about that too much, unless I missed it. And then finally, they ended the show with Beyond Good and Evil 2,
Pretty
which
cool.
I thought was a really good trailer. And they had said it wouldn't be at E3, which has been announced before. It's been announced several times before, and then last year they're like, all right, we're actually making it. But I was surprised to see it, and it was a good trailer, and I was just excited. And then after a while, it like sunk in. It's like, oh, that's just a trailer, and the game's not really doesn't exist yet. And then since then, we've got if you sign up for the Space Monkey program, which is their beta program, they've got a developer video that shows off some of their tech demo, basically, because that's all they've gotten so far. So it's just a monkey with a jetpack flying around a city, and that's it. And it's cool technology, like just fly up into space,
Technology.
and it's a giant planet, and it's all seamless. But what's the game gonna be like? They keep saying like, yeah, you can explore this planet, but what's there to explore? I don't know. It scares me a little bit. But the first game is nothing like that, and so when they make big departures like that, it's scary, especially when Vivendi might take over and then cancel this game because it's not going to make them much money, because the first one didn't make much money. So, anything on Ubisoft? Anybody?
It was a good conference. They had some good games.
I think it was the best one.
Yeah.
I think it was the most solid across the board. There weren't like the only lows was the Assassin's Creed part, and then Just Dance, like we said earlier, it's going to be there, and they kept it brief, so I appreciate it. Everything else was pretty good. I think the crew segment was a little long in terms of its like the guy talking, but other than that, good game.
Yeah, give 'em-
or good conference.
Good pluses.
Good pluses. All right, moving on.
Yeah, quality stuff.
Sony. So real quick before we talk about the actual show, we had the pre-show, which they actually showed off a bunch of games in the pre-show. We had Knack 2 gets a release date. It's coming out this year, and it is $40. This is not a full-price game. And surprise, surprise, all the things I'm reading from the show are saying this is a good game. People like this game. Knack 1, people didn't like that game.
Oh, Knack one was alright. It's kind of $60 is way too much. But yeah, it was a pretty basic game.
So, I'm excited for Knack 2.
You played the first one?
I have it. I haven't played it yet.
No.
But I have not heard the best things about it.
That's the only game I ever played on the... Or my
But
PS4.
Matt loves bad games, so
I have an affinity for mediocre games, yes. Just finished XCOM Bureau, XCOM Declassified. That is a mediocre game that I absolutely loved. Let's see. They showed off a Jackbox game, kind of. I think it's part of their new initiative called PlayLink, which is like a cell phone controlling thing for different games. Game looked really fun. A lot of the impressions from the show floor were good. Excited to see where it goes. I love Jackbox. I think it's a perfect party game. It's like the one thing where it's like nobody knows what to do at a party. It's like Jackbox, and we're like, yeah. So
No, it's definitely fun. Get a big group of people.
yeah,
Some inappropriate topics. It's perfect.
yeah. It's always fun trying to judge your audience of how they'll react to like, do they like offensive things? Do they want to not offensive? So shock factor. And then Pearson's game of the show right here, Tropico 6. Stealth announcement just dropped as a trailer during the pre-show.
I am ready.
It should be like a Tropico 5 atonement at this point, because I haven't played 5 yet because the impressions weren't great, and I'm waiting for it to get cheap, but everybody says 5 is just 4 but worse. And it's like they just took out content, and there's like, why play 5?
And it's
just play
not
4.
like much. Yeah, it's not great.
So Tropico 6.
Tropico 6.
Let's try again, basically. Love the Tropico series, though. Tropico 4 is an excellent game.
Yeah.
So let's get into the actual meat of this conference. Do a little rapid fire here.
Yes, please.
We got Days Gone. What'd you think of demo?
Looked good.
Yeah.
Looked good.
I mean, it kind of just looked
Don't
like
care
every
for the
zombie other game.
but it looks good.
At first, I thought I was like,
Yeah.
"Is that Last of Us 4? What's going on?"
So, I've heard of people that saw the demo at E3, and they said that they go different routes in the same mission and do different things, and things happen differently. And apparently, like the bear at the end, you only get that if you make noise. So there are ways that game plays out differently, and I like that. I like that it plays like Last of Us. It looks like Last of Us, but it's an open world game with a day and night cycle, and so I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be better than we're giving it credit for.
Nah,
in terms of what kind of experience it provides.
Just kind of looks like a zombie game. I give it the benefit of the doubt.
I think it looks like a really good zombie game.
Maybe.
So
The whole different paths things is pretty sweet.
yeah, like, but if I had to choose Days Gone, State of Decay 2, at this point I'd choose Days Gone.
State of Decay 2, that's like on the bottom of the list.
All right, so we got Monster Hunter World. That was kind of a surprise announcement. A lot of people, that was their most exciting thing they showed at the show, at least announcement-wise. So, bringing Monster Hunter to PC.
What?
That's a big thing, yeah. But it's a different. It's like they're clearly not calling this Monster Hunter 5, so it is a different type of game. But it's supposed to be co-op. It's supposed to be able to take down these beasts with your friends.
There's 5 letters in world.
All right,
So it's Monster Hunter 5.
Oh, and if you take the W of world and divide it in half, it's a V, which is 5. And
I don't get it.
Roman
All right,
numerals.
yes.
Nah, I don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
So what I'm hearing is like some of these beasts take like 45 minutes to take down. So it's like a boss battle for 45 minutes with your friends. Could be kind of fun.
Nah,
I would enjoy that.
People
Yeah.
like Monster Hunter.
Open
I've
world
always
running around, getting
wanted
things
to play
chasing you.
Monster Hunter, but
Yeah, it looks like a good entry point to the series. Apparently the PC version is coming out a little later than the PS4 version, but it's supposed to be early next year. You're going to wait for the sale anyway,
Yeah.
so...
That'll show them.
and somebody to play with.
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Don't care.
It looked sweet. What? I probably wouldn't.
It looked awful
No, it
to
looked
me.
sweet.
Like, okay,
You have to be into that kind of game. Like, I'm sure
I don't even think that because like
that's what they look like.
watching. I think they look terrible.
Visually, and that's what Marvel vs. Capcom. It's like comic book shading and colors and stuff.
Right, but like, go watch Injustice 2 trailer.
That's totally different.
How is it different?
DC?
DC versus Marvel.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like that's just how the style works. Like they've made plenty of Marvel vs. Capcom, and that's just the style they're going for.
I'm just saying, I don't think it looks great. I think that
I'm not saying
In
it's
an
like
age
visually
where-
not look.
not just the visual, like just it looked uneven, and the trailer was like, ugh. But like, not just graphics. Injustice 2, like the facial animations and everything are so good, and it has a really good story campaign. And to me, this was just generic. Like, I was not into that. Like, I don't like fighting games. I want to get Injustice 2 to play through the story. I don't want to play.
I
Marvel
watched
vs.
the
Capcom.
Injustice 2 story on YouTube. It was good.
Okay.
But I mean,
All right.
I think that's the same thing with this. Like, just being into like the comic book characters and just mixing in with Marvel vs. Capcom. I find that interesting. Like, I'd probably just watch the story and not actually play the game.
Yep.
It's like their interconnectedness and like all these different characters.
All right. Moving right along. Call of Duty we talked about earlier. Destiny 2 kind of talked about earlier. Talked about Destiny with Anthem.
Wait, you're saying it's Anthem Destiny 2? It's like the same game, right?
Huh?
It's like the same game.
It's not the same game. It's a similar game. But I don't think the Destiny 2 trailer was great. I don't think it was a great showing.
It wasn't.
I don't even remember the trailer that much, which is a bad
I feel like it
trailer
was really
because
cut
I
up.
remember almost every...
Like, I thought, wait,
Hang
is
in
this
there.
Anthem? Oh, no, this is Destiny.
They had a little PlayStation VR segment in there. And a couple good games. And we saw more Skyrim in there.
Yeah. It looks
Skyrim
so
will die.
clunky. Doing motion controls with the arrow, like your motion control
Okay,
bow and arrow. It's like, oh my
Impressions that
God.
I've heard, though, Skyrim VR is supposed to be actually pretty cool because like doing the bow and arrow in VR is better than like the Switch bow and arrow, and like casting magic with the VR controllers is supposed to be pretty cool. So it might be actually pretty fun.
I've played some like tech demos of like the bow and arrow and stuff, and it's fun.
Now, if we took Skyrim VR, put it on PC instead of PlayStation, and then give it mod support, I might actually try that because that sounds like a good time. I saw the game Moss looked pretty good. I saw some stuff outside of the conference. Again, looked pretty good of that. If I ever get a VR headset, it's definitely something I want to check out. Seemed like a cohesive, good VR game. Then God of War was quite a showing. Previously, all we had seen of God of War was the last E3 2016 show, which was just one little chunk of a level. And this was...
I mean, it was an 11-minute chunk of a level.
Yeah, this was a ton of stuff.
But this was all over. We're seeing different locations, different enemies, different boss battles.
His wife and his son? Oh my gosh.
Was that his wife?
Or
was that just a woman?
He literally said, "This is your son." I don't know. I assumed it was his wife.
I don't know. We'll have to see. But then
she was awfully affectionate.
The ending of that trailer with the water creature.
That was sweet. I was like, don't kill that thing. That thing's sweet. Is that
but you think like, oh, this is going to be the boss battle. But it's like, no, this guy's here to help you. And just like when he's talking and it's like echoing through and all the water's shaking off of him. Oh, that sold it for me. It's like, yeah, this game's going to be really good.
It's just a bad dad.
It's going to be something special.
Taking his kid to murder.
Yep. Let's see. We also had Detroit. Looks good.
Yeah, it's kind of
cool. I was more excited for the Detroit demo from last year with the hostage situation on the roof, and then like the girl dies, and it's like, oh, you could have done that differently, and then it like redoes it, and then shows you that there's hundreds of different combinations of things that could have happened. I think that was a more effective way of selling the kind of game that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
We'll see how the game turns out. I'm pretty.
Reminds me of Deus Ex.
Reminds me of Heavy Rain.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. And then finally, for Sony, we got to talk about Spider-Man.
That was a great trailer.
Haven't seen it since last year, so it was a great gameplay demonstration. The only concern that a lot of people had was the QuickTime events.
Yeah, I mean,
it was just too much. People are like, "Do I have freedom to move around? Is the whole game gonna play like a Telltale game, just with a little bit of interaction?"
But I mean, the entire like half the thing was just QuickTime.
Yep.
The other time it's like you're jumping around and then you can hit some kind of combination.
Since then, the developers have said the core of Spider-Man is free traversal, and the city will be open to you from the beginning, and you can go anywhere at any time. And so that was just kind of for that story segment.
Right.
It might not have been the best thing to show. I get what they're going for, like set piece, action, they wanted this certain thing, but it might have been better if you had just showed him swinging around and then just like doing a side mission. I think that would have sold people on this game, and I think they actually might have done more harm than good with how many QuickTime events were in that. So overall for Sony, though, to me, it's like there wasn't enough new game announcements. It was more refinement on what we had already seen. I mean, Monster Hunter World was probably the biggest announcement.
Yep.
So that's kind of sad. What do you guys think of Sony?
That we wanted to know more about wasn't there. So
yeah, true. There were things that we expected to be there that wasn't there. It was actually a really short show of around an hour.
Yeah.
But so what?
The Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, that's right. We forgot about that one.
Yeah.
They're calling it a remake, but they're saying they're not adding any content, which is kind of sad because there was cut Colossi from the PS2 version.
I believe the wording is it contains all of the original content.
Yeah. Right now they've not announced anything new.
So
they're kind of hinting, don't get your hopes up.
But they didn't say
they said they've changed the control system, but the content is the same, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
So we don't know if there's the same plus anything, but don't expect it at this point.
Right.
You're going to get your hopes up.
So you're saying they're going to put new content in it?
Because they're like, after the game came out, you can dig through the files, they've data mined it, and they found that there were actually like 21 Colossi instead of the 16 that actually made it into the game. So it would be cool because it's just more to the game. I think that they should do that. I don't think they will, but we'll see. It was a beautiful looking game though, and it's the second time that game has been remastered. So kind of interesting.
But it looks good.
Yeah. So overall, Sony, like I said, I don't think they announced a whole lot of new stuff. Because I don't even know if I'd count that as a new announcement, because that's a game that I've played twice already.
I'll count it as a new announcement because you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, Age of Empires is a 30-year-old game.
25?
1 million years old.
I'm not 30. All right. Let's quickly run through Nintendo because they quickly ran through it.
Yes,
right?
please.
Am I right?
Yep. They have Kirby. They have Yoshi.
Well, hold on. Not that quick.
Age of Empires will be 20 on October 15th.
So, Reggie Fils-Aimé. This is a 24-minute direct. And we knew this going in that it was going to be shorter. The previous directs are like 40-something minutes for their E3. So we're like, all right, games. Get to the games. And Reggie comes out and he starts talking. And I don't even know what he's talking about. Oh, man. Ooh.
Yeah, I kind of tuned that out.
It's like, the game is fun. If it's not fun, then why is it a game or something like that? Like, what is he talking about? Just show me some games. Oh, man. That was painful. And then, like, halfway through, he's on a green screen beach and talking about, like, ARMS tournament that's going to happen later that day. It's like, don't do this during your 24 minutes. It's just like they didn't have 24 minutes of games to show, which is sad because this is your Switch coming out party, basically. Like, this is your time to prove. The E3 after you release a console is like your time to prove, here's why you should buy it this holiday season. I don't know if they did that. They kind of just forced out some announcements. Let's talk about the ones they didn't force out, which would be the Kirby game, which they showed gameplay of. Looks pretty good. A lot of people are equating it to the older Kirby games, which are considered some of the best and very good platformers. And then they also showed a new Yoshi game, which I don't think either of these games have titles. The Kirby one might, but the Yoshi one didn't.
Kirby's called Kirby.
It's just called Kirby.
That's what I remember. Just like a title card. Kirby.
Okay. So the Yoshi game looks like the last couple Yoshi games, kind of.
Yep.
And that's about all there is to say about that.
I think it's called
Nothing too
Yoshi.
much like, I need to buy a Switch because that's coming. They talked about Zelda DLC without really talking about it. Like, they're like, be excited for this thing coming at the end of the year that we want you to pay $20 for now. And now they're hinting that you're not going to actually play as Link. You're going to play as the heroes. So it's going to be a prequel, which I'm kind of like, oh, I want a sequel, not a prequel. But it is what it is. I'll still get it. Whatever.
Oh, I guess
What a sucker.
the Kirby game is untitled.
Okay.
But they called it Kirby.
So they talked about
And Yoshi
Rocket
is
League.
called Yoshi.
Yeah. They talked about Rocket League for the Switch, which actually showed it in a montage when the direct started before they actually announced it, which I thought was a dumb move. Kind of showing your cards at the beginning. But I think that's really cool. Rocket League, just around the house, around on the go. I think it's cool. I think it's a good fit.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Rocket League on a Switch. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the announcements that they did kind of rush. So first one I'll talk about is Pokemon. So
They
little
announced the
context. Barely. I don't even know if I could call it a full announcement. So little context. They had a Pokemon Direct like a week and a half before E3, which is like, what are you doing having a Direct before E3? Just save it for E3. And so everybody's expecting Pokemon Stars because they're like, it's a Pokemon Direct. And Pokemon Star is supposed to be like the Sun and Moon version for the Switch in HD. And like, there's so much information that said this game's coming. Like, there's been rumors from several different gaming websites. There's been people found that all of the sprites, or not the sprites, the 3D models in Sun and Moon have HD versions that are like fit for a 720p screen that the Switch has. It's like, it was written in the stars that this game was coming. Everybody expected it. And so they come out and they're like Pokken Tournament for the Switch, DX, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the 3DS. and then Gold and Silver for the 3DS. End of the Direct. And so it's like that was their whole Pokemon announcement, and everybody, the internet just was upset because they expected more. And then it's like, even then, okay, take out the
When did they do the desk thing?
Oh, we're getting to that.
Okay.
That's during the
Okay.
E3 Direct.
Okay.
So take out the fact that we're not getting the Switch version. Just say the Switch didn't exist. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I don't want that. Like, as a Pokemon fan, I own a version of every Pokemon generation, at least one, sometimes 2 or 3. I don't want Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because at least Black and White 2 they claimed were sequels. This is like the same game, they said, with an expanded story, so it's gonna be the same story with just more. I don't want that.
More Colossi.
Give me something new. It's like you're already, in order to collect them all, unless you trade with friends, which I guess is what they want, you got to play through this game twice, and now you're like, oh, I got to play through this game 4 times? No,
Wow, Pokemon
I don't
sounds
want to
really
play
fun.
through the same story. All right, sorry about that. I lost power for a second, but we are back.
Yes.
And just got a little bit more to talk about here with Nintendo. And we were talking about Pokemon. And so here's what they did. They had the creative directors, president, I don't know, somebody of Game Freak, Pokemon company, sitting at a desk, drawing something.
Oh, hello
saying,
there.
Yeah. Oh. I was sorry. I was just, just happened to be drawing when you came in with this camera crew.
And all your lights and audio equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he announced a whole lot of nothing. He just said, yeah, we're making a Pokemon for the Switch. A core title is what he said.
Core RPG.
Yep. And that's as much as he said. And then we moved on. I was like, what?
No title, nothing.
So, here's my speculation, and I'm 90% sure, 99% sure this speculation is fact. They put that in last minute. The only reason they did that is because the backlash of
the Direct, the Pokemon Company Direct, yeah.
Right, because so many people were expecting a Switch title. They come out with these 3DS games that nobody wants except for people that just don't have Switch and aren't going to buy one. And
even then, they're like wishy-washy.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to play through Sun and Moon again. Especially if it's not an actual sequel.
Right.
You're not changing that much. I don't want to do it. So I think they just kind of last minute said, well, we got to put up something, so we're not even going to name this thing. We're just going to have the guys say there's one. Please be excited. So
please don't murder us.
and it seems like everyone was just like, oh, yay, they're making a Switch. It's like, no, you should still be mad at them for what they did.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. And then they kind of did the same thing right after that with an announcement that I was personally very excited for. Metroid Prime 4. You hear the music.
Yeah.
You see the logo. It's flying in.
And we're done.
The name Prime 4.
It's under development, Matt. Wow, the promise. God, that is such a tease. That is such a stupid tease.
It's not even a good tease.
No, it's
just a name.
Yeah, no, it's a dumb tease, Matt.
Like, everybody was like, the internet's flipping out. Everybody loves it. It's like, no, you just love it because of what it's going to be, not what it is.
You love it because it's whatever it is in your imagination. Because we don't know what it is.
We don't know anything about this game. Yeah. Here's what we do know about this game, which came out after the press conference, or after the Direct. This is not made by Retro. What is Retro working on? That's the big question.
Maybe they're dead.
Retro, the last game they made, I think, was Tropical Freeze Donkey Kong.
Wow.
What was that, 2013?
Probably.
Maybe 14? I think it was 13. What have they been working on for the last 4 years that they can't even announce a game that they're making yet? Ah, that
14.
that's crazy to me. So, you okay, Alex?
I just heard a sound. Wasn't sure.
Yeah, I did too. So,
Hmm?
Pearson, you still hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Metroid Prime 4, I was super disappointed with this announcement. Not because I don't like the fact that they're making another Metroid game, but they're just calling it a new development studio is making it. Like, they don't even have a title. Who is it? Who's doing what? Like, this game could be terrible for all we know. I don't know. I'm really just upset because this seems like another one of those things where it's like, ooh, we don't have a lot to show off in this direct. I guess we'll just show off a logo that takes maybe a day to produce that little clip. You know?
They're trying to push it. They're like, well, this. You should really buy a Switch because maybe one day we'll have
Yeah.
a Metroid game.
Real games for you to buy.
So,
instead of just imaginary ones.
The problem is that this was the big after launch E3. And really, when you look at it, you had Kirby, Yoshi, Mario, which we knew about, and Rocket League and Skyrim.
Oh, and you forgot Fire Emblem Hero Warriors.
And Xenoblade Chronicles.
That looked
2.
pretty sweet.
Okay. But I expected more from this show in terms of announcements.
Oh yeah, I mean,
things
it's
we
pretty
didn't know
dry.
about. I expected an Animal Crossing game. I thought there was like an 80% chance of an Animal Crossing game showing up. They've said that Animal Crossing Mobile is coming out this year for sure. It was supposed to come out earlier already. And the only reason they'd release an Animal Crossing game for mobile is to promote an actual console game. It's like Pokemon Go comes out, and then, 4 months later, Pokemon Sun and Moon come out that heavily feature Gen 1 Pokemon. What do you think? You think there's some reason for that? And then it goes on to be one of the best-selling Pokemon games ever? Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yep.
It's like they do the mobile, and then, we release a core title. So they're doing it for Animal Crossing with the mobile. Where's the core title? If I could get one game besides Mario Odyssey, because I'm super excited for that, if I could get one game that hasn't been announced yet for Nintendo, it would be Animal Crossing. That is the game I want, because I know I will spend hundreds of hours on it.
There you go.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I would have spent longer on the 3DS if it wasn't on a 3DS.
Right.
Like, that's just not a great system to put hundreds of hours into a game. It's not very comfortable to hold for that long. What else did we have? Let's talk about Mario Odyssey. What a lot of people are calling game of the show.
It was great.
Trailer of the show. What do you think?
I
Alex?
really enjoyed the trailer. I liked the song, and I didn't realize you could take control of things.
Yeah.
Like a dinosaur.
I don't think we knew you could take control of things until
Okay.
then, so
That's pretty sweet then.
yeah, I think it's a cool mechanic. I think that trailer to me was just a little too much. Like, it kept jumping around and was showing so much, and I think they should have lingered on some stuff a little more. I get what they were trying to do, though. I'm so excited for this game, and I've said this plenty of times on other podcasts that they have said that they are going back to the roots of Mario 64 and Sunshine, which are my two favorite games in that series, and that really speaks to me. I have concerns with this game about how many worlds there's going to be, because I'm hearing that there's lots of the moons, which are what are the stars in this game that you collect. I'm hearing there's lots of moons in each level instead of just a few, so I feel like there's not going to be as many levels as previous Mario games. I might be wrong. We'll see. This could be a huge game, and I just don't
You got
know
a whole city.
Yeah, but it's like, I like the variety of different environments, even though in Mario 64 there was a couple levels that were similar to
I
other
mean, you're
ones.
still a devil advocate. I mean, they might have a bunch, but maybe they're like, well, you look at this, you got an open world. We give you
Yeah.
PLS.
I have pre-ordered the game already. Very excited for it. Day one. I don't often get games day one, so that's kind of a surprise for me. Got a good deal at Best Buy with the Gamer Club unlocked. I got 20% off, and then they're giving $10 reward gift card when you pre-order. So it's like $48, and then you get $10 later. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good for a brand new game. So let's see, what else did we miss? Nintendo. We had after the Direct, which is like, just put this in the Direct. They had announced a Metroid Prime 2 remake titled Samus Returns for
Sweet.
the 3DS. And I think that's why they didn't put it in the Direct. They just wanted the Direct to be only Switch.
Yeah.
But if it's only a 24-minute Direct, put something else in there, you know? Ugh. So, I was disappointed with the Direct. Some people weren't, and I get why they weren't, but it could have been so much better, I think. I think even if you just take the games that were there, present them differently, take out some of the Reggie talking moments, throw some of the 3DS games that are coming out, should have had Hey Pikmin and that Samus game in the Direct, would have made the Direct a lot better. Because I think as a whole it was weak to me, is how I would describe it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. I'm just thinking through things that we missed that I wanted to just briefly touch on real quick. One thing about the Xbox One X was VR. They didn't show, and now we're hearing rumors that they're actually not playing in VR at all. In that Giant Bomb segment, he talked about VR and AR. They call it mixed reality, I think.
Yeah.
Augmented reality.
Yeah, but I think Microsoft specifically calls it in their stuff because he kept saying MR for mixed reality.
Yeah, I mean, with their
Instead of
HoloLens, they
augmented,
call it mixed
so.
reality.
All
Yeah.
right, sure.
Yeah, got to have their own
Yeah,
trademarkable thing they can put it on. So
Corporate jargon.
yeah, but I was surprised because there was rumors that it's like Microsoft and Oculus were in bed together a little bit. The Xbox One controller came with the launch Oculus, and it made sense. You got a big, powerful system, put VR on it. PlayStation's got VR. How about you just have other people make your VR headsets, and then you can just sell more games?
Yeah.
That seemed like a no-brainer, but nope, they're not doing it. So I think that was surprising to me. So, all right, final thoughts. Anybody? E3 as a whole, 2017. What'd you think?
It was good. I enjoyed it.
That it's good
Wasn't-
enough.
Good enough.
It wasn't like the last 2 years, but that you can't have that every year, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
I think that gaming so far this year is so nuts in terms of the quality of games that have been released. We've had so many games above 90 on Metacritic in just the first 4 months of the year, and then we've got so many more to go, and we got Mario on the horizon, which is clearly going to be a top tier game.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we're kind of spoiled right now. I think everybody kind of got all their big guns out of the way early, and they all just kind of happened to land during this year, and then they didn't have as much to show this year. It seemed like every one of the conferences didn't have a big what announcement this year. There was nothing that was surprising. Metroid Prime 4 was the most surprising, and it wasn't even really an announcement as much as a tease.
Right.
So yeah, that's my final thoughts. Yeah. All right.
Hopefully some big stuff next year.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that we'll see some big stuff next year. Also, the other thing I wanted to mention with Sony is that since the press conference, because it was only an hour and they didn't announce a whole lot of new stuff, Shuhei Yoshida, which was the Worldwide Studios president, I think, said in an interview that they were definitely holding back games so that they could have games at PSX. And I think that in the future we're going to see PSX become a bigger part of what Sony's doing, because it's their own show and they can have their own format and they don't have to do.
They don't have to do anything that they don't want.
Yeah, and it's for the fans. It's it's just for the fans. So, I'm kind of excited that 6 months from now we're getting another big press conference from Sony, and it's probably going to be better than the E3 press conference.
Probably.
So, because what's Sucker Punch working on, you know?
Guess we'll
Gonna
find
see
out.
eventually. We are. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this E3, kind of a special podcast version, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know what to call it, but what, Alex?
Nothing. No, everything's
Like,
good.
Eh.
Everything's good.
All right. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. Look forward to more podcasts from us. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe and tell your friends. And you can catch us on twitch.tv/teamfov. Playing all sorts of games. I was playing Planet Coaster just today. New summer update just came out. Streamed some of that. So
Nice. I will
Yep.
probably be playing Diablo 3 since the Necromancer just came out.
Oh.
I'm downloading Lawbreakers right now.
You gonna stream it?
Maybe.
Did you get an open beta?
I think there's actually a beta that started today.
Okay. Wow.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for joining us.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.